Get that extra riff in there, huh? Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. Happy birthday, Mannix. I saw Marcus wish. Oh, all right, now we've got it all worked out. Echoing and happy birthday, Mannix. Hi, everybody. So, a little rusty tonight, huh? That's what I get for having all those weeks off before OAX. But nice to have everybody here. And I see Tina Hager in the chat. Tina, welcome to the Premium Member Club of Comic Art Fans. Happy to have you in the chat. And I'm glad that you had a good time at OAX. And we welcome you to the fold here. So, so everything's good. I am going to have a guest with me at some point at the beginning of the show, Mr. Matt DiTullio. I think I mentioned that in the email. However, Matt is not here yet, so hopefully he's probably just a little delayed. Maybe he got his East and Central time zones all a mess. But anyway, no, Carlos, that is not accurate. Not the restoration person at all. But hey, Nick Barucci. Things are moving along fairly smoothly around here since OAX. I've definitely caught up on my sleep. But we're almost, we teased an announcement as far as what the dates were going to be for OAX. I can tell you that Kazra and I are second guessing ourselves a little bit right now. So it's going to be one of two weekends. It's either going to be the weekend before MegaCon, or we're actually going to move it to the 2 weekends before MegaCon. We're a little up in the air at the moment with some planning. So it's tough to kind of think a year out at, like what you want to do and when you want to do it. But I think we'll have it all settled sometime early next week. But yes, Vaughn Hawk is the restoration person that we work with. It's Matt's birthday too. I did not know that. I wasn't paying attention, but happy birthday to Mannix. Will the new date screw with MegaCon? As long as we're ahead of MegaCon, Marcus, we're probably not doing them any favors. If we were after MegaCon, that would be doing MegaCon a favor. So no, we're not. We have no intention of doing that. Bill will like Paul P's recent Mannix post. I'll have to check that out. Paul P was at OAX. I saw him. He actually had a mask on, of course, because that's Paul takes care of his mom, and I know that he didn't want to bring any COVID back to her. And his mask actually said, "I'm Paul P." So it was easy to figure out who Paul was when he was running around the show. But I didn't get a chance to talk with him. But I see Matt's in the studio now. But so what I wanted to do was play a video. We got so much material, and I've actually got a second video I'll play when Matt and I are done talking. But as you know, we had Tom McDonald shooting video during the OAX. We had many other people taking photographs and video. So Tom had put together a kind of a, stinger reel of things that happened on Friday and Saturday, and then a separate video for Sunday. Now, as it turns out, I was going to have some artists with me tonight, but they weren't able to make it, and so we're pushing that show to Monday. And the Sunday portion of Tom's video footage actually works really well with the artists that we're going to be having on Monday. So I'm going to do the Sunday clip then, but we'll just dive right into the Friday, Saturday clip here that Tom McDonald put together. And then I'll bring Matt in, and we'll talk about OAX. We'll talk about the Tullio Art Collective and anything else that he and I want to rap about once we get him in here. So again, big thanks to Tom and his wife for doing the video and the photography that they did over the weekend. They submitted a ton of content to me, so we've got a lot of marketing material for the next 52 weeks to work with. So here, let's get this thing started. No one will ever be able to know what that is.
Oh, thank you. You're welcome. welcome to OAX, right? This is very special for me. I can tell you that after doing comic art bands for 21 years, and it is our 21st anniversary in about a week, it's surprising to end up being here in front of all of you presenting something like this.
OAX is officially open! Thank you for coming!
You made it! I know. See you.
That is all I can get on the plane.
Yeah, but we do fair time payments. We do fair and time and package deals.
It's the first big appearance, but I mean, that's a read of Spidey. I mean, it's perfect.
Next page, it's only Mary Jane, but it's pretty nice. It's twice up.
Spidey on
Whatever. Right, of course.
make sure that you're number one on the list.
Oh, you guys, you go back to the villa? No, I do that. Thank you guys. I showed it to yeah. All right, I'm gonna wander around.
Yeah, I'll see
Oh yeah. He said he wouldn't trade that for next week.
Just stock some comic book shops and collaborate with them.
Unbelievable. So I think I'm going to get it graded and make sure it's protected and just beautifully displayed in my home.
If you want to wait a minute, he'll be available. $5, $20, $100. Wait, Chuck, get the $10 This is wonderful. He didn't pay for the play. It's wonderful.
Yeah, because you gave me a heart attack there. I was like, I did not draw a Silver Surfer. So.
I see these guys, and now they're not on my website. I got a late start.
5, 6 grand.
That was my theory, is maybe.
But yeah, he did a bunch of
Mostly for Dan, but also for Houston. You both come from different backgrounds. You do comic books, other things. You do covers like fantasy.
Having like Jim Lee and stuff and those guys in my comics. And the art, it was always about both communities. I think the segue is that the art was really what holds it together. You can't be a fan of comics and not be a fan of the art.
Come on, somebody break the ice.
I do love him. But, he reached just out to himself at 300.
Okay, we got you 6, 525 and 650. 7, 7.
1,200, 1,200, 1,300. There we go. What?
2,400. $700 going twice. 375. Again, Walking Dead cover.
There we go.
By David Finch.
Sold for $3,000. Hey, Ronald Dustin, 700. Get 1,200. 1,200, 648. 740 going once, 750. 1,200 going twice. Sold. 1,200 to 620. This is one of the steals of the night. Go great.
250. Okay, let's see. Are you sure you don't do 500? Are you sure? Somebody get him more drinks. We'll just start it at $100. All right, we got 100.
Going once. Going twice. Sold. Sold for 300.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow morning, nice and early.
No mini coxes here. Only mega coxes.
I mean, it's just boiled bones, you know? I'm showing porkasm. Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, really good porkasm coming up in a minute. This shit, when I'm over there, it drives me just crazy. I love it.
Hey, Mr. Tutulio.
What's going on?
Not much, man. Can't complain.
That was an awesome video.
Yeah. We got to see you lose the auction. What are you gonna do, man?
Better luck next year.
Exactly. But yeah, no, everything's. I think well, Casper's a little under the weather still, but I came out of everything pretty unscathed, and I'm finally caught up on my sleep. Not on my emails though. There's a lot of people I owe some replies to, but yeah, by and large, man, everything's good. We're already thinking about next year. That's we thought we had a date figured out, but now we're contemplating having an extra week in between us and MegaCon next year. So we'll figure it out. But I think we'll know by early next week what we're going to do, just so we can give everybody as much advance notice as possible.
Yeah, I mean, the better, the more time, the better. I'm looking forward to the dates for next year for sure. Can't wait. It's like, right after the weekend, it's like, all right, when are we booking this again? I want to get back. It was such a good time.
No, I'm glad. You guys. We tried to give you a good spot. You were next to Sean Gordon Murphy, so I figured there was probably a lot of foot traffic over there at your end of the hall. So what was your experience like behind the table?
Oh man, it was great. It was really good to see all the collectors and meet all the collectors I've seen, since I've become more active in the, CAF community. It was the first convention where I actually felt like that everybody that was, everybody came there for the same reason. And it was just really cool to see people walking around with their portfolios, the sharing, the trading, the booths that were set up all looked awesome. Thank you, Nick. It was a pleasure to meet you too, man. Yeah, and it was just really good. The auction was a blast. Obviously I'll tell everyone, just like everybody else, the pizza was terrible, but if that's your biggest problem, I think, for year one, you did pretty darn good. But yeah, behind the table was great. There was a lot of foot traffic, and everybody came over, was very appreciative of art or wanted to see, one of the Simone's work, whether it was DeMio with the sponge technique and his inks, or getting to watch Bianchi paint isn't something, a lot of people get to see him do live. So there were quite a few people, just kind of standing off the side watching him paint. And that's not something you get to see at, every other convention, because he doesn't really paint live too often anymore. So I think it was a very good, relaxed environment for him. He felt very comfortable. He loved chatting with, all the collectors that were coming up. So for us, it was a great show. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I got to see him work on Snork's thing.
The funny part is that wasn't even for Snork or for Snork.
He was just working on it.
Yeah, wow. Simone just loves to paint the thing, and it's one of his. He loves to paint the thing, Hulk, Black Bolt, Wolverine, and he likes Psylocke too. So every once in a while, he'll just start painting one. So he said he wanted to do a warm up for anybody that wanted one, and then he started painting. And I met Chris the night before when he came over. I was like, "Hey, you might want to take a look at this," and he was like, "I'll think about it." And whoever he was with, I think maybe it was his wife or someone, was like, "You should just buy that." I was like, "I like this person. You should listen to them." And he did. So it worked out perfect.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I know everybody really liked seeing DeMeo work and get to see his work up, close. So that was pretty cool. I mean, I had not seen his stuff in person prior to that, but I actually got to ship Chris Snork stuff back, and of course he got a piece from both your guys. So that was, I got to look at the art for a couple days before I sent it off to him. But yeah, fantastic stuff from both guys.
Chris's piece with the Winter Soldier with the in all the casings was just absolutely insane by DeMio. And one thing that I do want to call out that both of my artists said that they've never had before, which I think might have gone overlooked in some cases, was they loved that the convention was at the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Like they thought that was neither of them had ever done something like that where it was like right where we were staying, they could just come down, walk in the morning. So I think in that aspect, it was also really good that the hotel was just connected to the venue. You walked in and you were good to go. So that was really nice because Bianchi likes to take his naps throughout the day. So it was nice that he could go back up to his room and take a quick, hour nap and come back down re-energized to keep pace.
Did he do that?
He did.
Both days?
Just on Sunday.
On Sunday. All right.
Yeah.
That's funny. You figure he would be all rested by then. I figured Friday and Saturday.
I mean, he can nap anywhere. He's borderline narcoleptic. The guy just loves to nap. He's amazing.
But yeah, that was kind of the attractive feature about the hotel, was just the fact that everything was pretty self-contained. I mean, it would have been better to maybe have an extra bar somewhere or an extra restaurant. I mean, but everything was close, right? Miller's Ale House was right next door, along with that Benihana or whatever, and you had City Walk across the street. So it wasn't like you had a shortage of places to eat or drink at if you wanted to get out.
No, and one thing we do have to do is as soon as you guys do launch the dates for OAX/Megacox for next year, we need to alert Miller's Ale House that we're all coming again, so we can have as many spots as we need at the bar. Maybe just hold back half the restaurant. We'll just take that. So that would be all right.
I looked at, after the fact, I looked to see if they had any opportunities for group dinners or something. I don't think they have a room there, unfortunately, but we could probably, block out something over there.
Yeah, we didn't really need a room. It just happened to be where everybody just flocked there and flooded in, and it was a bunch of it was great. I said, it was a bunch of comic book nerds hanging out, having beers and eating food. There's nothing better you could do.
Well, I missed out because I didn't.
Number two. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, hopefully next year I'll get to enjoy it. I know Kazzer went over there one night. So I heard he was dancing or something. I don't know. I missed out on it. Apparently you did too. You didn't get to see Kazra.
No, I didn't get to see Kazra dancing. We went there a couple days before, and then a couple times we just went, just the four of us, me, my fiance Robin, and both the Simones, just to eat there. And then we started seeing more and more OAX attendees, showing up, and it was great. It was like the whole outside at one point was just all, it felt like college again. Exactly.
So they actually had outdoor seating?
Oh yeah, it was like an outdoor, kind of, enclosed, but they had a whole outdoor bar, probably 30 seats, and then probably 50 or 60 sittable tables outside around the back, which was nice because for me, being from Buffalo, everybody thought it was cold, but I was enjoying the weather. I was good.
Yeah, no, it's we had perfect weather. That we really lucked out because it was cold the week before that, but yeah, no. It worked out very, very well. So I'm trying to read through the chat and catch up. But I hope Kazra had his pants on when he was dancing. I don't know. I mean, again, I wasn't there. I didn't see it.
And then for you, did you have a moment where it was was it maybe after the speech at the opening dinner or after everybody started coming in on Saturday? Did you have a moment where you're okay, now this is happening, and obviously you had to account for any problems that would have came up or anything, but did you have a moment where you were oh my God, this is it?
It happened Friday, even before the reception, where it just kind of hit me that, there's no stopping this thing. It's really here, but so after that, it was just kind of coasting, but I regret the fact that, I didn't get the chance to talk to everybody who was there. There was some exhibitors I didn't even say hi to really. And, I think next year that's going to be one of the bigger things is just to try to make sure we have enough help around that can tackle things. But, I have a problem delegating anyway. So that was part of, always wanting to be around the registration, booth, or keep checking in on the galleries to make sure my kids are in there watching the art, try to over manage the auctions, you know what I mean? So next year, I think we'll have a better feel for the help we need. And I'll actually be able to feel like I can, hang out and chat with everybody. Cause I think there were a few artists I didn't even get to say hi to. I didn't say a single word to David Finch, for instance. And he was right in front of you as you walk in the door. yeah, I mean, Will Gabrielle, I think I gave him his badge, and then I never went over to his booth. I don't even know what art he had on the wall, let alone I never saw Steve-O and Lovitz's booth. I mean, I just never took the time to get over there because I was always doing something. So yeah, lesson learned on that. But yeah, it was very, very, very exciting to kind of go through it and just see everybody having a good time. That was the main thing.
I think it was great to see the culmination, the melting pot of how many people from different countries, different areas came, you know, Philippines, Canada, United States. I mean, from all over the country to come, you know, for this event in its inaugural year. I don't think it can be said enough of, you know, the base that you guys had and the level that you raised it to be able to put on an event like this. And I'm in a few group chats with some collectors that, you know, attended the event, and, you know, the meat and potatoes was there in year one. I mean, fine tuning for sure. You know, I know Castro is somewhere in the chat. You know, his job is to destroy it and make sure it's, you know, going to be 4 times better. But, you know, for the first year, man, you know, my artist, I can only speak for us. We had a blast. Everybody enjoyed themselves. We thought the setup was great. It was convenient. It was nice knowing that everybody there was serious and enjoyed original comic book art. And some of the questions or some of the people that came up and had stories from, oh, I haven't seen you since, you know, New York Comic Con 2015 or whatever it is, you know, to Simone Bianchi and Simone DeMille. Oh man, this is the first time I've seen you at a convention since I've seen your work on Batman and Robin, which came out earlier this year or earlier last year. So it was great just listening to the conversations. And, you know, one of the things for me is, you know, being smaller with the Julia Art Collective with just 2 artists is, my favorite part of it is the connection between the artists and the fans, getting to see that, being a part of everything. You know, even, you know, for the fans that are just coming up for a signature, or the fans that are the collectors there to pick up, you know, a published cover or whatever it may be. That's what I really enjoy, because getting to hear that, getting to hear, you know, them chop it up and what made them like the art or whatever it is, you know, it's powerful to hear. So I think that gets lost maybe sometimes here and there. And I felt like at OAX, it was something that was almost the focus, which was really great.
Well, that's like you said, that's what it's all about. We talk about that a lot on the channel, as far as like what separates our hobby from any other. And it's the idea, you know, the fact that we can connect with the people who are making the art, right? And that's not something you really can do if you're just buying comics or statues or those sorts of things. And it's what makes this whole thing really special to us as collectors. And you know, hopefully the artists feel the same way, you know, because at the end of the day, I think, you know, it's really good for all of us to actually have you know, connect with each other, especially when you're picking up art and you can buy it directly from the artist. It's very, very, very unique.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just something that we hadn't had here in the United States. It was something that you got to walk around, and unfortunately, you know, having a booth and you know, working, and I wasn't out as much as I would have liked to been for the collector side of me to go and pick things up, because there was some, you know, amazing art there, obviously, whether it was from artists or, you know, dealers or whoever. But it was just wild to take kind of a step back and think like, okay, look at all the art from all of the time periods in history that are in this room. You know, going back from comic strips up until modern day comics, from artists, you know, like Alex Toth up to a modern day artist that's, you know, working on comics now. It was a real culmination of just an amazing amount of original comic book art that I don't think I personally have ever seen. I wish I would have been able to get out there and shop around a little bit more, but being busy is always a good thing. So I was happy for that. But you know, just the sheer amount of amazing art that was in that room, I don't think it can be overlooked. It was pretty crazy.
Did you send your fiance around to get onto a few commission lists?
She took care of me. Yep. She picked up a couple items. Yeah, she was great. Yep. She was good. The only one that I didn't get, which was still phenomenal, was the Adam Kubert. He's going to mail it out to me, but I wasn't able to make it to his meet and greet, and we had an agreement for after. He was going to ship it out, so everything was good. And yeah, from Alex Toth to Alex Ross, I mean, what a span. I mean, it was amazing. And to get to hear everybody's, I met so many different types of collectors. Some people only collected 90s X-Men. Some people collected just painted art, just, pencil and ink art, just prelims. Seeing everybody's own niche and wheelhouse of, how they collected and being able to look through portfolios. Everybody was like a kid in a candy store. It was very fun. It was just a great atmosphere to be in, no matter what side of the table you were on, or, however, it was great.
Did any of the collectors share their portfolios with you guys when they'd come up to the booth, or did you just say, like, what do you got? You ever?
No, it was actually pretty interesting. I had a couple trades. I did do one, couple trade offers. I did one, but I think what was really cool was people brought pieces from Bianchi that they had already had, that he hadn't seen in years. And he's, if you get to know him, he's hilarious, but he's like, I don't even remember drawing that. Like, when's this from? And they were like, oh, I got this from this gallery, or this is from, a preliminary layout from this X-Men story. And hearing him kind of be like, oh yeah, now I remember. And then talking to them about that piece that they had. It was just really cool to, hear them interact. And, oh, how long's it been since you've seen this? And a couple of times he's like, oh my God, but, let me see that. And it was just really cool to see that interaction. You don't get to see that at other conventions because normally it's signature, get out of there, go do what you got to do, whatever. I think it was really cool just to have time for the artists and the fans to connect in Jet,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I'm just reading some of the other comments in here. Like, #1 Marvel fan, the main thing for me was to get wants to get more pre-con commissions next year.
I agree.
Yeah,
that's going to be what what I think I'm going to try to focus on next year is knowing that, how, now I know the layout, what's going on. I think I'm going to try to line up as much pre-con as I could, because there were a lot of amazing artists out there that were drawing live on the floor, that were taking commissions that maybe I didn't, know they were prior, or whatever it was. So I think next year I'm going to definitely try to do a better job of, getting on the pre-con list for the, the guys that you offer through the channel.
Yeah, I got 3 myself. I mean,
I got a John Beatty.
Yes. I managed not to pick mine up somehow. So
how did you manage not to pick yours up?
Because John's one of the tables I never walked by, and I didn't even think about it till literally on Sunday night, and I was like, shoot. And then he gave it to another collector. Even though he's in Florida, I could have probably gone over and picked it up, but he's given it to somebody else to get to me now. But yeah, that's how busy it was. I mean, literally, I didn't even pick up. I gotten something from Eric Grove. I didn't pick that up until probably the last hour of the show. Eric kept coming by me at registration. Bill, when can I get this? He did not want to leave without me getting it. I just never had a chance to kind of, sit back and enjoy things. So I've learned my lesson, but yeah, pre-cons I think are definitely the way to go. I mean, the artists end up being happier because, again, they're kind of set going into the show. They know that they've already made some money, and then it just makes things a lot easier. But you as a collector already know that you don't have to hustle as much coming in.
You're not sprinting in for the line. And it was really cool actually being behind the table and watching the doors open up and everybody, funneling in and flooding in and seeing. It was like, like the scatter effect. Everybody went in a different direction to see, who they were going to. It was very fun to watch. I had a good view from the corner, everybody coming, towards us. So it was really good to see where everybody went, what everybody was, where everybody was attending to go to.
Mm-hmm. No, that's awesome. So obviously you stayed past to MegaCon, and I think everybody saw my comments about MegaCon. But as a show, I mean, how was that for you as a rep? Being on the floor there, because that was your first experience setting up at OAX and really MegaCon too. So
correct, yeah. So we did like a double, kind of a launch type of deal with the team. Mm-hmm. Being very honest, I'm a transparent guy. Anybody that talks to me enough knows I don't really lie. I mean, I would do OAX 5 times over before I did a MegaCon again. The thing about MegaCon is it's a completely different animal. I think they did like 175,000 over 4 days, and it's definitely more focused on the pop culture aspect. It's definitely more focused on the photos with Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, Tom Hiddleston, things like that. And this year, because I did do MegaCon last year as well with just Bianchi, and I think this year the difference is they shrunk down what felt like the Artist Alley area and made more area for pop culture, celebrity photo ops, things like that. which, when you're charging $300, $500 for a picture, it is what it is. I'm not going to lie to you. 5-7 years ago, I was in a couple of those lines to get, photos with Chris Evans to, have him sign my Captain America Hot Toys, which, is one of my favorite items, but I just have moved past that and gone more into original art. And I think the collector base from a MegaCon to a OAX is just drastically different. I mean, we didn't even charge for signatures at OAX. Something that we wanted to do to make sure that, each of the, artists were kind of giving back as much as we could. And at MegaCon we charged, and that's where we made the majority of the money. Yeah, we made some original art sales for sure, but I mean, it was more of a, for DeMio especially, because Bianchi doesn't do remarks. They're just not up his alleyway. He goes from painting 18 by 24, 16 by 20, 11 by 17, and then somebody wants him to draw, a Spider-Man this big.
Doesn't work.
He just, it's not a good representation of his work. He says, when I see him later, I actually get pissed off. They're not something that I want out in the market, for me. But, for DeMio, it was, probably 25 remarks on Batman and Robin #1s, smaller things like that. A lot of signatures, but not to say that there weren't a lot of original art collectors there, but it was nothing like it was at OAX. And I think just the dynamic is different. You know what I mean? It's just
it's more of a signature show at the end of the day.
It really is. It's a CGC signature show. And I know some guys that are facilitators, and MegaCon's one of their best shows every year because it's a madhouse, but it's Bianchi remark. Yeah, he can't stand him. Yeah, and people would come up finally, like I would say, like, I'm done saying no, you got to say no. And like he was like, yeah, no problem. People come up, would you do a remark? Absolutely not. Just this one guy came up, I felt so bad. He had a jam piece and everything was done except for like one square, and like off the side he was like, I'm got all these people that would do Wolverine. I'd love to have you. He was like, he was like, first off, I'm just going to tell you it's not for me. Second off, like, I don't know why he had all these other guys on there. I would have done the whole thing and it would have looked a lot nicer. So that's just his outlook.
Well, I mean, that's
Ron, no, man, thank you. And I apologize for your, prior issues. And it was our pleasure to take care of them for sure.
And that's
Ron went all the way. I'll give you a very quick story. Ron went all the way to Italy to see Simone's exhibit in Livorno.
Okay,
and,
I remember that.
They have, Italian time's different than American time, and sometimes the hours aren't the hours. And when he got there, it was supposed to be open, it was closed, and it was just bad experience. He travels all the way across the world, wants to go see this art exhibit, and doesn't work out. So we were able to sign some of the the art books that he was able to get through the shop and take care of him because it's not something that's on Simone. He can't control when they're open or not, but we don't want anybody to have that type of, negative experience when they travel all the way across the world to see an art exhibit.
But you took care of them. That's the important thing. And, and you guys had the opportunity to do that, being able to hang out with all the fans at OAX. So, no, I mean, we were very happy with the results of everything. I mean, overwhelmed, by how positive everything really turned out. And, like I said in my post, I'll never need to go to MegaCon again. It's just too much. I don't like. It's the thing is, it's not even a MegaCon OAX thing. I mean, I don't like going to San Diego and New York just because
it's a lot.
The issues that are there. But MegaCon, they just need to learn how if they need to widen their aisles and all that kind of stuff. At least San Diego and New York, you can kind of get around. That place was just uncomfortable to be in. And I think I feel like I didn't get a cold. Just you're in such tight proximity with everybody, and the artist alley is not. I mean, it's huge, right? It's that giant U shape with the pros on the outside, and then they fill it in the middle with a lot more like the fan artists and that kind of thing. And it's just you want to see the pros all in one area, And
I think they did that on purpose to try to make it seem like you could walk around the outskirts of the U to see everyone. But who am I? I'm not a convention organizer. I can't, say, but to me, the layout was a little off, but I was actually happy with our spot. I saw some other spots that were a little bit tougher. And you got to meet over the weekend, my buddy Otis, and, and, Otis and I, we've been collecting for, 15 years together. And we've, been on the opposite side of the table, and maybe about like halfway through Saturday at MegaCon, we looked at each other and they announced like the whole rush out happened for like the Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen dual photo op. And we just looked at each other and we were like, I don't miss that one bit. I don't miss, like, that is, I honestly am very thankful that I'm not starting to collect now and thinking that, like, that's the show that's in my hometown that I would go to, because it would honestly be a turnoff for me.
Right.
It would be too much because, I just turned 33 yesterday and I was like, by the end of MegaCon.
How old are you? 33?
Yeah,
33.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You're a kid.
And I did one lap around on Saturday and I felt like I was like in a, like the old football drill where people with the pads are hitting you on each side. And I got about like halfway through the floor and I was like, nope, that's it. Just going to go right back. Can't get around here.
Yeah. I thought I was supposed to get in a fight with somebody over there. Like, I forget which cosplay character like basically shouldered me, walking just right down the aisle. And Kaz was like, I think it's time for a fight. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I had to get out of there, but yeah, it's just different at the end of the day. That's
it's a complete different vibe. And I have to say, from an artist standpoint, it's very hard to get work done in an environment like that. You know what I mean? It's a lot of the stuff we were taking, doing them back at the hotel, bringing them back because there's a lot of interruptions because there is so many signatures, things like that. We're at, OAX example for like Bianchi. He was able to rip through 3 painted headshots in 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was something that he really enjoyed because, he can talk and paint no problem, but the amount of people that are coming up, asking for signatures, whatever, he felt much more, I can speak for it, much more in his element at a convention like that, or like a, Como-esque where it's more there to appreciate the art and purchase the original art than come up, meet them and get signatures. Whereas, he's willing to do that. But when you're trying to paint, you're trying to get commissions done and things like that, it just it adds up when people are coming repeatedly and slowing them down. So it was definitely more easier going and more up our alleyway for Tertulio Art Collective at OAX than, the MegaCon layout. But they're just 2 completely different animals, in my opinion.
Exactly. And I assume you've got a mailing list started over at TertulioArtCollective.com.
Actually, the website is going to go live Monday. So right after Super Bowl.
As soon as it's live, everybody can register then.
Yep, everybody will be able to register. That's where you'll get the first, emails, for Simone DeMio mail-out commissions, Bianchi mail-out commissions, where we're going next. That's what I was doing before I hopped on here. I was doing a little bit of editing, a little fine-tuning. It's pretty much good to go. I'm trying not to over-analyze and, overdo things, but it's going to launch with about, 300 pieces of original art and some really cool things that were just done recently, some stuff from, older times that I was able to find, with Bianchi when I would go to Italy. Sometimes he allows me to dig and I was able to find some really cool stuff, some old pages, things like that. So, it'll be hopefully very nice. And I hope everybody gets a chance to check it out. And if there's anything that strikes their fancy, let me know. And maybe sometime in April or May, we could make an offer show. Who knows? We'll do the warehouse sale.
That's true. I definitely, if you're up for an amateur show, I definitely have some openings in the next few months. I mean, depending on who we can get to pair against you. But if you're open to it, you just let me know.
I was also thinking because I spent a lot of time with the 2 guys in between, and we were together for like 14 days. And I said, what do you think about if I can get like 10 pieces from you and 10 pieces from you, and we do a Simone versus Simone show and see who wins?
That would be interesting. Kezra and I talked about, we could do some amateur shows with a pair of artists. That might be fun.
Yeah, it would be really cool. And, I think, my goal is to kind of get this running where so a lot of this stuff is for my personal collection, but, also things I've been amassing, have this idea for about 2 years now. Thank you, James. Appreciate it, man. And, I'm really putting all this out there for sale to reinvest and to constantly have, new capital coming in to buy new art. And I want to do, website drops, not only for my artists, but also for art that I'm bringing in, to put up for sale. So hopefully, it's something that everybody enjoys. And a lot of pieces, Viper, a lot of pieces from my calf will be for sale. No black bolts, because those don't go up for sale. But mostly everything in my calf will be up for sale. So it'll be a little bit bittersweet to see things go, but I'm trying to look at it from a business aspect, and I want to continue to do this, for the rest of my life, foreseeable future. So just the beginning for me for something that I'm trying to make happen long term.
Yeah. And Chris from Nerd Crawlers in the audience tonight. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, I will actually be doing a Nerd Crawler auction coming up too. It was great to meet Chris, phenomenal guy. I think something that he's doing, is needed. There's a spot for it, and I think he's got a really good outlook on it.
Yeah, very true. Very, very.
I have an Arthur Adams cover for sale. His art book cover. Well, Jason. I mean.
Always good to know. Well, that's the thing is there's a lot of good Art Adams art work out there.
Is there is there anything Arthur does as bad? I mean,
I know we just did the best of awards on Tuesday, and we were like, we could just have a category for Art Adams, because you put in the convention sketch category, Art's always going to have something in the top 5, 1 or 2 pieces always, right? And it's like, you see that and you think, yeah, we maybe. I mean, we never would, but the thing is, you could see it, right? Because then it would give everybody else a chance to get into that, to potentially get a trophy. So you never know.
I mean, and speaking of Jason, I mean, one of the guys, I know you said Finch, who was, right when you walked in, but one of the guys that, really just blows me away, and I've met him, multiple times, but his work is just insane, is Brian. Still Freeze is he is a pleasure to talk to, but his work is just wild. Will the Bills still be in the play? Okay. All right. That's my only real issue, and maybe it's not a real issue, is that if the Bills do go to the Super Bowl and it's on Super Bowl weekend, I will tell both of the Simones that they are up the creek without a paddle, because I'm going. Maybe I'm just going for heartbreak, but please don't schedule it Super Bowl weekend if that's a possibility. But I think the odds are pretty low that we'll still be active at that time.
Yeah, well, yeah, we're not doing Super Bowl weekend. I can tell you that. I mean, but MegaCon put their show at Super Bowl weekend, which is
I'm out. That's just I can't make it.
I know it was a little surprising. Yeah, so no, we're definitely not going to be that weekend. That's just a bad idea all around. I didn't want to be on the championship weekend, but we really didn't have a choice. So yeah, we'll either be in the bye week next year, or we'll stick with the championship weekend. But we'll definitely be before that, before MegaCon, just to make sure that people have cash in pocket, right, to be able to come to our show.
Yeah, and I think one of the great things that OAX had that was unlike any other convention. That's my mom, so love you, Mom. Thank you. I think one of the best things about OAX that I really enjoyed was the just overall camaraderie. Whether it was, you didn't have to be in the conversations, people just welcomed you in. People just started talking to people. Like on Friday, people were just walking up to me, "Hey, are you mad?" I'd be like, "Oh, I know you." Then I would, just start listening in, and people like, "Oh, come on in." Like, everybody might have had their own original circle or, whatever it was, but everybody just wanted to talk comic art with everyone. And I don't know if there's a better, feeling at that. And I've been going to Como for 5 years now, or 4 years now, whatever it's been, and I can tell you it's not even the same there. You weren't getting the same level of I don't know if it's the language barrier, American collectors, Italian collectors, European, whatever it is, but having everybody there and just listening to everybody talk and listening to people chime in, and the atmosphere of the auction. I mean, Jimmy and Nick up there, it was like, you couldn't stop laughing. They were like, whose line is it anyway up there? Who was going? So it was just overall like a really great experience. I really enjoyed it.
No.
Yeah, Jiggy, I knew that OAX was going to be off to a good start when I've been talking to Jiggy for literally about a year, had a half of a portfolio to pick up from the next comic art team, and I walk into the thing and I see Jiggy and Harvey. I'm like, we're going to do fine. Things are going to be good.
Right. Well, this is, like you were just mentioning, the thing is, there wasn't a conversation that anybody was having that another person couldn't easily work themselves into, because we're all talking about the same thing.
Yep.
That's really the great thing about it. And I saw some comments earlier about, kind of I don't know, a way for us to let people know which other collectors are coming. And then, those are certainly things that we can work at for year 2, trying to figure out a way. I had a person suggest that, like how we have the badges for best of that show up in a person's profile, like a badge for going to OAX1. And then that would be an easy way. And maybe there's even like a pre-filled badge for OAX2. After you bought your ticket, we can come up with a way to fill it. And then you just have a list of people that already have the badges, so you know who's going to the show. I mean, I think there's definitely a lot of things that we can do to integrate that already into the CAF experience.
To connect both of them together. I mean, because that way you could kind of start, pre-planning who's going. You'd kind of have a, because I know a lot of us in the collector realm all just got together and, hopped into a Facebook group chat or an Instagram group chat or whatever it was. But being able to know or have some sort of like, signification that they've already bought their ticket and they're going via CAF, it would be, pretty cool. Maybe a better way to set up some trades or, who's bringing what to sell, something like that. So very cool. And like I said, I mean, I think, obviously there's always room for improvement on anything, but for me, the launch of the Art Collective at the first OAX, the inaugural one, I couldn't have been happier. Always room for improvement, but for me, I was very grateful to be a part of it, and I was grateful for any of the support, that anybody stopped over, said hello, talked to the artist, talked to me, whatever it was, and it just was a 72-hour, happy environment. There was nobody that was upset from what I saw. Everybody was in a good mood and, joyful. And that doesn't happen too often because we live in a pretty crazy world. So when you can get a bunch of people together that are all happy about the same thing, it normally goes pretty good.
That's very, very true, Matt. It really is. And honestly, we really appreciate the fact that you were a partner sponsor for the show as well.
Of course.
Meant a lot to us, as well. It helped us, all that stuff. It really gives us confidence when you have people supporting you financially and with their presence. I mean, that means a lot, and it just makes you want to work harder because you don't want to drop the ball with so many people, really counting on you. But I think things went better than we could have hoped, as we've talked about a lot, and I think it just bodes well for year 2, and we're really going to go all out. I think we're not going to be making any guest announcements for the next few months while we just kind of plot and plan and figure out what we want to do. But we'll be working a lot behind the scenes. I have a feeling probably late spring we'll probably have some kind of a formal announcement, probably tied around Comic Art Live, which is the second weekend in May this year. So we're the weekend before Como. We were always the weekend after Como for a while. They switched their schedules up a little bit. So that's kind of what I think people will see. But so it'll be a little quiet, at least on the announcement sides of things for new guests. But I think, but I can guarantee you we're going to be working a lot on it, as well as all the other projects and things we got going on here, Matt. But when you do make your formal launch on Monday, make sure you hit me up with a press release so I can get that out to everybody too. I'm happy to do anything I can to promote the launch and get everybody signed up for your newsletter.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. And I think, if I had to have, I'll end it with, if I had to pick a highlight, a couple of things, number one for me personally, Team Oreo will be back. Well, thank God, because we couldn't have, Team Oreo was amazing. But I think, getting number one for me on the collector side was getting to meet everyone, getting to meet all the people that I've seen in the chat tonight, dueling dealers. I don't know if, you guys realize, but I think, it's become more than, what you thought it could be when you first started to do this. Because, for me, every Wednesday on the 80-inch TV in the middle of my living room is dueling dealers. And then, Thursday is the CAF update, and, that's what's on. And, it's something that's easy to support for me. So being a sponsor was not even a question. This is something that I want to go for as many years as you guys want to do it, especially after having, the first year, the way it went. So number one, meeting everyone. Number two was, for me, was selling my first piece of original art under my new, art thing. And then number three was probably my most fun, was the auction for Orenga's piece. I mean, if that didn't give you the biggest smile, even if you don't know Orenga at all, it was a stunning piece, but nobody was bidding on that just to bid on it. It was a beautiful piece of art. it went for every penny it should have gone for, and I was just so happy for him. That was for me, you know, one of the best moments of the show, because that was like for me, like a symbol of, you know, better things are to come every year for something like this. It was just awesome. I went and bought a $14 beer after that. That's how good of a mood I was in. I bought a $14 beer. We're in Buffalo, they're $4.50. So I was in a great mood.
Are you saying that we should probably have the open bar during the auction and not the reception?
Well, if you want to have the open bar during the auction, a lot more people are going to bid.
We did talk about that after the fact. We're like,
listen, if you get people tuned up, I mean,
even if it's just an open bar for the first hour, right? First hour open, next 2 hours cash bar. We get everybody warmed up, and
you just gotta prime the pump a little bit, give them a couple, you know, beers, wines, whatever, and then all of a sudden, by like auction piece 30, things are starting to double and triple. Everybody's doing good.
Well, that was something we talked about last Saturday when we had like a power meeting between us to try to figure out what all the things we thought went well and could be improved upon, and that was like one of our number one.
Yeah, Carl's got it. Open bar starts at 5, auction at 6. Beautiful.
Yeah,
we'll have people raising the hammer and falling forward by 7.
Yeah, I'll tell you, my one big regret was actually because I wanted to do this going into it. I wanted everybody to raise their hammer and get like a photograph of that. You know,
I thought it was really cool what you did because, you know, normally it's just a paddle, right? So it was really cool to have it be a hammer. I actually kept mine. I got both of the Simones to autograph it. I kept it as like a little, you know, memento from the show. So I think that was also a really cool aspect. You know, just the little things. I mean, they go a long way, and everyone, you know, everyone that was there for the auction, I got to say, well, the auction may have been long. Nobody was scooting out early. You know what I mean? We were all there for a reason, and we wanted to see all the pieces. I mean, you know, I was very thankful to have, you know, one of my artists do the official poster, which was amazing. But I mean, that Adam Hughes piece, you don't see that. Like, that's not something that's just out and about flowing around. So to be able to even, you know, see that piece in person and watch it get auctioned, I mean, it was fun. I had a blast, you know, at the auction, watching everybody. And, you know, even with the bad pizza, I was happy.
Yeah, I know. I actually didn't get to eat any of the food that we had. So I'm only taking everybody's word for it.
You just didn't eat at all during the show?
I pretty much didn't. I kept, Maureen kept giving me a granola bar in between things. And I did go to the bar Saturday night and I ordered a hamburger. Because
wow, you stepped up. It was just
I had to at that point.
Zevia and granola bars for the weekend, huh?
I think I lost a few pounds, but it was all right though. But yeah, at any rate, I'm glad you made it to the show, man, because it really for me was you know, it's a culmination of all the last 4 years of doing the live streams and everything we've been doing together as a community. You know, where we weren't face to face, really in person, and you know, so OAX was pretty much everything that I could have ever hoped it, you know, would be, and now it's going to be fun. It's like now we get to go back to doing, you know, these live streams, and you know, and we can look forward to, you know, the OAX 2025 again, and it's and it will all be a lot more familiar with one another when that happens. You know, there's so many more people for me to interview that I got to meet at OAX that I'm going to start sending emails out to that I haven't had on the show before. You know, it's just going to be fun, and I think the more familiar we get with one another, the more fun and interesting the hobby's going to be for all of us.
And I also think, you know, one group I want to give a shout out to. It was very cool for me because I've been a part of this group, you know, as long as I've been a part of the, you know, the CAF group or whatever it is. But the Marvel trading card guys, they're awesome people, and it's, you know, maybe not comic book art, but it's original comic art just for trading cards, and that's a whole different aspect of collecting, the way they look at things, original art versus cards. Sketch cards are much more, you know, apparent to them. They would rather collect a sketch card than an 11 by 17. And it really opened my eyes, you know, from my end of it to say, like, okay, not everything needs to be on the same medium or needs to be done this way, or, you know, with the rise of jam pieces or whatever it was. And I was able to, because they were kitty cornered to me, I knew a lot of them, and I was able to get over and check out the booth. They had a beautiful setup. They had some amazing sketch cards, you know, Buscema or John Romita Jr., you know, Stan Lee. They had some like Roy Thomas signed stuff on the card. I mean, they had some amazing stuff. And it was really cool because they had Dan Dos Santos there who did the new Marvel Masterpiece series, and then Simone. So they had like a little interview with them and hearing their different styles, because, you know, doing a Marvel Masterpiece set takes a year of your life. It's 14 months to paint 135 original paintings nonstop. And, you know, to have them, you know, kind of come in and have the first one to really kick it off. I hope that, you know, they come back, because it's a whole separate thing of collecting that has its own passion. And they're a great group of guys. I've known them for a long time, and I was very happy to see all of them there. You know, Miami Steve's one of the greatest guys you ever meet. He's a legend. You know, Justin from Spidey Hits, those guys, just, you know, Fausto, Noran, they're great people. So seeing them there and having that kind of a newer side, I think that maybe some people don't, you know about, or has been a little bit newer in the hobby. It was great to see them there. So just the overall, you know, eclecticness that the event brought was really amazing.
Yeah, I think it's yeah, they're gonna have a bigger presence in year 2 as well, which is going to be great. And yeah, I think they brought a different aspect to the show that you know, I wasn't even really familiar with. I mean, I know trading cards and sketch cards are popular, but I didn't really know that side of the you know, the hobby. So I mean, I've watched Spidey Hits a few times, so I you know, I understood it. But getting them in the room with us, I mean, that's great, because a lot of those people don't collect comic book artwork, but they're turned on to that, and we get to see the stuff that they collect. And you know, I think it's just great for the hobby, you know. So as we move further into illustration and strip art, I think, you know, just having different you know, artworks that we're all not normally accustomed to picking up, I mean, getting exposed to it is good for everybody, I think. So yeah, year 2 is going to be a lot of fun planning, and I can assure you there's going to be some cool things happening that I think everybody's going to appreciate.
I hope I'm invited back and can participate, and maybe I'll get myself a gallery room next year, and, you know, put up some of the stuff for myself. But we'll have to see. Overall, Bill, you know, Casper, you guys did an amazing job. You should be very proud of yourselves. It was yeah, buy your tickets early, because, you know, anybody that missed out on this and they're seeing these videos now, they're having FOMO already, and the dates aren't even out. So I think you guys did a great job. You should be very proud of yourselves. And it was, you know, I was a sponsor, sure, but it was an honor to sponsor it. It's something that I'll continue to do, you know, every year that you guys have the event, because I truly believe that the hobby needs something like this, and it needs, even if it's one point in time in a year for 3 days, that we can all get together and you know, talk stuff like this. It's paramount. It's not only important, it's paramount. So thank you very much. And I really appreciate it. And I hope that the Tulio Art Collective can continue to support moving forward.
Thank you so much, Matt. Yeah, there will be a year 2, and of course you will be invited. You know it.
All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, Bill.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Have a good one. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, things went better than can be expected. We've got next Monday. I'll have let's see, who do I've got on? I've got Allison, Adam Hughes, and Jimmy and Amanda will also be joining me, and we'll be talking about you know, the show from a artist perspective as well. And you know, I saw lots of questions in the chat. I can try to go back through some of them. I know one of them was related to whether or not we would do the free sketch again, and I think that went over really well. I mean, I think about half of the artists in the room participated in that. And yeah, everything went really well and orderly, and it created a lot, you know, a lot of small pieces. A lot of them were done on those the free sketch cards that we gave away to everybody. But a lot of people also brought their sketchbooks, so you know, the artists could draw in whatever you brought in front of them. Just, it was going to be a quick sketch, right? So there was definitely, we appreciated that. And you know, it wasn't for everybody, but I think that's going to be here to stay. Oh, there was Steve Lipsky who asked that. All right, see, I'm getting through these a little slow, but yeah, I mean, there any chance of it being, Steve asked another question about twice a year, maybe winter and fall. That I cannot say. You know, right now, no. The next show will be OAX 2025 in Orlando. That's for sure. I mean, there's plenty of interesting opportunities that we could pursue if we really wanted to, but right now, you know, we want to make sure we get the format down really well. And yeah, like Carl had mentioned, you know, I think that, you know, tickets will sell out pretty fast next year, even if we increase them by a couple hundred or something like that. We're going to take over the entire space that's available to us. There will be a few more exhibitors. We might increase the artist count by about 10. You know, we're not going to go overboard. We're not going to have the issues that we've seen other shows have. So the focus will definitely be on the artist and exhibitor ratio to the number of attendees. But I think even if we increase the number of attendees to 700, for instance, I think we're going to sell out before the show happens. I mean, I would be willing to wager we'll sell out. If we start selling tickets in June again, I bet you we would be sold out before January 1st, because a lot of people are not going to want to miss out on that on year 2. So, Heroes is OAX summer. Yeah, that's right, Chuck. And it's a change of pace. Shelton does a good show. Shelton showed up at OAX. He wanted to see what was going on. He had some other business to attend to, so he was there. Hembeck tattoos at the show next year. That might be interesting, Kazra. And maybe we can get Fred to show up. He would fit in perfect, I think, with all the different things that we would have going on there. OAX branded board for free sketches. We thought about that, Carl. Just wasn't something we could pull off for year 1, but definitely something to consider in year 2 as far as our own boards with the OAX logo printed on it or something along those lines. So Marcus wants a tramp stamp. Maybe Marcus, we might even let you design it. So let's see here. Couple things though. We do have a fair number of swag bags and material left over. I haven't decided what or how I'm going to handle distributing those. I haven't. I think what I'd probably like to do is, put a price on it just enough to cover my shipping. But the swag bags had a lot of different stuff in it, and we actually, for those of you who weren't there, you had an OAX bag, you had the sponsor logos on it. We've actually printed out shirts that didn't go in the swag bag, but we've only got larges left. So I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with those. I don't know how many we have left, but we had OAX stickers. We had, I've got a few attendee badges left that I wouldn't mind. I'm not going to save them. So at the end of the day, I'd like to be able to get these in the hands of people who weren't able to make it to the show. And that I'll figure something out by next week on what I'd like to do. Again, at the end, very, very least covering the shipping to get these things out there. Look at that, a lanyard with OAX Expo on there, OAXpo and Heritage and Comic Link, and of course, the 2 posters that we had. I'll even sign either one of them for you and send them in. But so we've got probably like roughly 100 because we printed about, I think 100 extra was what we were planning on. So make it available to those of you who would like to get those. $2 for shipping. What was that? I see you still owe me a number 2. I do, Jeffrey. Do I? I don't remember that, but if I do, Larry wants to know, can we still get the OAX t-shirts? We only have larges left, Larry. If you're a large, definitely hit me up. Otherwise, probably within a few weeks, I'll get the the art by JP for the OAX auction up on the TeePublic site, and people can just print their own. Did Bill send out hats? No, I did not send out hats. Sorry to say. Someone's selling going on eBay. Yeah, that was funny. Kazra sent me a link. Somebody had gotten the OAX Simone poster signed by many of the artists, and it was up for sale on eBay. So that's a weird feeling to have started a show that has now got swag out there that is now being sold on eBay. I know I didn't sign it. But Jason, you did get your Dueling Dealers hat. I did get you that. Was it a large budget Black Viper? I don't know. We wanted to make sure that everybody would remember OAX 1 and have things to take away. Oh, and of course, where was the I put the hammer? I don't even know where I set that. The auction hammer around here somewhere. So I got, there it is. It's funny. It's underneath a piece of Thor art. So you would also get one of these too. So not only would you get the prints and the bags and some of the stickers that we made just for the show, but you'd even get one of these, and I'd sign it for you. Maybe if Kazra were here, we'd get him to sign it as well. But at any rate, I'll have information next week for those of you who'd like to get one. But the reason we printed these like this, it was because we wanted people to save these. I mean, if you've got everybody's got a shelf to put stuff on. We wanted to make sure we gave you something that you would keep and not throw away. So we did a lot of that, and it was all for fun. I mean, it's all about, I think everything that we've tried to do on the channel is to be entertaining and enlightening and just have a good time with the whole dang hobby in ways that, you know, I mean, we know we're talking about art, but we want to keep things lively. So that was what OAX was all about. Harry Potter wands, those are pretty expensive. Black Viper drone, we probably pass on that. George Hodge, we wish you could have been here, man. I know you would have had a lot of fun if you would have been able to make it out. I don't want storage wars. At any rate, before I move on, we got a lot of video shot, and I mean, more than we can ever probably go through. But there's this wonderful 3-minute clip from the start of the show. Now, I remember months before OAX, I had told Kazra that I wanted to be outside of the hall, thanking every single attendee walking through the door. And I don't know what happened. I was too busy helping people on the inside of the hall, and I missed the opening, that was going on. I missed everything that was happening outside of the hall because of whatever the heck I was working on, and I don't remember. But as everybody started coming in, I gave them the standard San Diego. There's no running in the halls, and nobody was running, but I greeted people that way when they were coming in. Kazra was in the perfect spot, and he was at the door greeting everybody while they were coming in. But the video that was shot is just, it's really fun, and it really, I'm sure you're going to recognize a lot of people, but it's the first 3 minutes of people entering the hall. I think it's, it shows you how amazing it was to have that many collectors and fans participating in the first OAX. And I don't know, I watched it twice. It just made me smile to see so many of the people that supported the show coming through there in the first 3 minutes. So I put the clip together so everybody else could appreciate it. We'll do this, and then we'll move on with the rest of the CAF update. Enjoy. And I'll be back in a couple minutes.
Right? Mark will do it. Ladies and gentlemen, OAX is officially open! Thank you for coming! Get ready to buy some art!
Welcome, everybody. Hello again. The line takes it in. Thank you again. Welcome. All right, here we go. There's the man. There's the kingpin. This guy. Hey. Welcome to the show.
Aquí todos somos VIPs.
Welcome.
All right, let's go, Sarah.
Welcome. Welcome to OAX.
Should be right straight ahead here.
Yeah.
Yes. You got it.
Interview. Welcome.
All right.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. Thank you. Thank you very much. Crayola rocks! Welcome to the show. Welcome. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Thanks.
Still coming.
Good morning.
Keep coming. Good morning.
Thanks very much, Sarah.
Man.
All right.
By the way, Aiden got his badge last night, but didn't get the bag.
That's okay. Anytime.
Thanks, morning.
Welcome.
Good morning. Good morning.
Welcome to OAX.
All right. I can feel the excitement.
Feel the energy. The energy pouring through the door.
Everybody's running down to the favorite spot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Woo, welcome.
Welcome. Good morning. Day one.
Have a good day. All right. Let's go, David.
hell was that?
Yeah, there you go. What the hell was that? That's a lot of people piling through the door at the beginning of the show. Like Scott Wingo said, I'm sure a lot of people made friends. Waiting in line to go get there. I mean, that's what was kind of cool. Wasn't sure what to expect as the hall opened. I guess since I didn't see what was going on out there, I thought it was pretty impressive. So yes, your maid shirt did stand out, Rob. But paid actors, says Jeffrey. Yeah, if only we didn't have that much of a budget. But yeah, we had a good time anyway. But it was definitely an experience to remember, and all those people made it all the more fun. The only thing that was weird about that was they were actually supposed to go outside. We had kind of led the stanchions to go around the corner, and then they were supposed to go out the door and kind of line up along where the pool area was. But everybody just kind of doubled around and went back across in front of the elevators and stuff. So I'm glad I didn't walk out there, because I probably would have panicked thinking the hotel was going to, give us a hard time. But anyway, let's see here. So moving right along. We can talk about some non-OAX stuff. We had the best of the other day, and I think it went rather well. We got it done in under a couple hours, I think. So that was always a positive. Mikhail was underdressed for the first time, but I made up for it. I wore a jacket. I had some emails after the fact. There's always we always kind of get the same questions after the shows. Things like whether or not we shouldn't be showing collectors' names on pieces. So it's all about the art. I mean, those are questions we've hashed out numerous times. Everything's pretty much the way the best way that we can do the best ofs at the end of the day. There's so many different ways to look at it. Like I had somebody saying that there wasn't a lot of 70s art represented in the winning pieces, and if you looked at covers and interiors, I don't really think there might have been one 70s piece in the top 5. So people always have been asking for, like, give us a 500 category for all the categories, and and other people have said, why can't we split it by eras so that the 80s art can get the same respect that the 90s art gets, and blah blah blah. The thing is, we can't have it always at the end of the day. And the big takeaway we can see year over year from doing the best ofs, I think, is that the hobby, the majority of the collectors are in a certain era, right? I mean, 2 Sandman pieces in the interiors, I mean, that might not have happened 10 years ago, but it happens now, right? Because that's a sweet spot for a lot of collectors. So it's just kind of a sign of the times, and in part that might be also why you don't see a lot of the 70s pieces making their way to the top. But also it might mean that there's the people who collect that era of artwork that aren't submitting their stuff to be juried as much either. So, I don't think we can look at the best ofs and be too critical about, the pieces submitted and the way the votes go. We just need to enjoy it and appreciate it for what it is. At the very, very, very least, the best of is an opportunity for, those of us who've collected artwork in the prior year to get a few more eyeballs on those pieces that we think are the best pieces that we collected, whether or not they get voted on. I mean, that at least is an aspect to the best of. So, that's the way I'm going to look at it. I mean, there's always, like, I like the $500 and under category. The mystery sketch one didn't get a lot of participation, but by and large, I really appreciate the way the whole thing goes every year, and it was still a lot of fun. I need to get mailing addresses from all the winners so I can get their trophies out to them, but I'll probably start collecting those over the weekend. Jason says the convention sketch category needs a cap. You mean, or a cop needs a cop. Sorry. It needs a cop. Yeah. Well, that's the trick though. Adam, Art Adams does convention sketch stuff on the floor, and his stuff looks like it was take home commission style stuff. It's tricky. It just is tricky. There's no good way to do it. And I don't want to police, the way things get posted. You just hope everybody does the right thing. So that's my feelings on the best of. I mean, unless there's glaring issues that I don't see with it, it's probably just going to stay the way we've had it for the past several years. And I'm okay with that. And, Yeah. So where can we go from here? So I might as well show you guys the schedule, and I'll mention a schedule item that's not on my schedule, but it's actually on Ken Carson's schedule tomorrow. And I think Ken's show started. Gosh, I'm not even sure what time the show starts. If Jeff or Ken are in the chat, they should let us know. Because I was looking at. Let me see here. Did he even tell me in his text what time this thing starts? No, he does not mention what time, so we'll find out. It's but on the 4C channel, he's going to be doing a sketch claim show tomorrow, and he's got Bill Morrison, Scott Shaw, Sergio Aragones, and Stan Sakai. 7 Eastern. Yeah, that's what I thought, Mikhail. I thought it was at 7 o'clock. He's going to be up against Nick Barucci. No, Jeff's in the audience. Jeff's a part of my schedule announcement that I was going to be mentioning here. So. So yes, tomorrow they have a 4-artist sketch claim show. So definitely tune in for that. You'll have to divide your time. You'll have to have one show up, screen up with Nick on it, and another one up with 4C to keep tabs on everything. Let's see here. So I'll go ahead and pull up the schedule and show you what I got, because I finally got back to this. But even before I do that, and one other thing to note, because I'm seeing this again. I mentioned this on Tuesday. I'll mention it again. The 2 pieces that we thought were lost, stolen, etc., at OAX that were done by J.G. Jones. I was contacted by a collector who had them in their possession in a most mysteriously odd way, but they had them, and this is a collector I know very well, so I know that they did not steal them, but they ended up with them in their possession. They called me when I was at MegaCon, so I quickly called Jason, who was out on the floor at MegaCon, and let him know, who had it, and passed along the contact info. So the art is heading back to Jason right now, and I know that I talked to one of the people whose commission one of these was, who was really disappointed when it was when it turned up missing. I was actually texting with them, so I immediately texted them after I called Jason to let him know the good news. So they were very happy too. So a bad story ends up turning out okay at the end of the day. So I'm very pleased about that, as I'm sure Jason and JG and the commissioners are as well. So back to my schedule here. Who was no, it was not the Hamburglar. But yeah, it was an interesting thing. So anyway, so my upcoming schedule, I do have this weekend off. Beginning next Monday, actually beginning next week, I've got 5 shows a week. For the near term, I've got Allison Sohn, Adam Hughes, Amanda Connor, and Jimmy Palmiotti will be joining me. We'll be talking about OAX from their perspective. I've also got a Sunday video clip that Tom McDonald shot that because they all 4 artists participated in the free sketch event, and a lot of what Tom shot on Sunday was centered around the free sketch event. So all 4 of them are featured a lot in that short video clip. So we'll get to see that on Monday. On Tuesday, our own Mr. Larry Ton will be handling a collector conversation. I'm sure they'll be talking a bit about OAX and a few other things. That'll be fun. That's kind of like a night off for me, but I love watching that show as well. Mr. Berkey is going to be away for a couple weeks. We've got an Anthony art drop on Wednesday. We've got a Fred Hembeck art sale show Saturday at 2 p.m. I've got the scans for Fred's artwork. Everybody's going to be very happy. It's on par with the last show. So I can't wait to talk with Fred again and show off the pieces he's got. It will be auction style again, because Fred's more comfortable with that than pricing his art. So we'll work it that way, like we did the last time. I've got Jordan coming on the following Monday after that on the 19th. We'll do it'll be a hangout for Jordan and I. We haven't actually done a show like this before, but love hanging out with Jordan. We'll do a $1,000 and under art sale. I don't know how many pieces we'll have, but it'll be just a relaxed evening of chilling with Jordan and I. Then Chris Barton. I was actually on a show where I met Chris Barton. He's a comic art collector. He's on CAF. And I thought, it would be cool to get him on the show. So I'm going to be doing an interview with him on the 20th. Anthony's got a make-offer show on the 21st because, again, Mike is out of town. I've got Jeff Moy. Yeah, that Jeff Moy from our chat. He'll be doing an art sale show with me on the 24th at 2 p.m. Got Jeffrey Dunn, who we just saw in the chat not too long ago. He'll be doing a interview with me, a long overdue interview with me, I might add, because I had it in my head that Jeff and I have done this before, but we haven't. So we're going to finally get that done. Other shows I've got of note, Brent Peebles, will be doing a show with me. He's one of the artists that recently left Cadence. So yeah, and this wasn't lined up. This is actually lined up before all that kind of thing went down, and so it'll be fun to kind of hang out with Brent. And we will not talk about that incident, but we'll be selling some artwork and talking about Brent's career. I've got a prop store and Hakes preview to do 2 consecutive weeks. John McCrae will be on with me. I guess I've got the dates a little out of order there, but you get the idea. That'll be another Saturday show, and then I've got Dexter Vines back with me on the 16th. So yeah, a very, very well packed schedule coming up, and then just on the horizon, not 3 months from now, we've got Comic Art Live Spring 2024, the 9th edition of the only virtual show that matters, right? So at least as far as we're concerned. I mean, do any virtual shows still exist out there now that the pandemic's over? I think we're the only one with any staying power. But yeah, so there you have it. But we'll be doing a lot more PR related to Comic Art Live, in the coming weeks. Again, I think that's it's going to be an interesting show. We'll be doing the mystery sketch again. We'll have a lot more artists joining us for the mystery sketch than we've had in the last few times out. So hopefully we'll get those things kind of promoted a little bit earlier than we have in the past, so that I can get some people started on their stuff a little bit early, and we sell even more, because every time we've done the mystery sketch, obviously we sold a fair number more than we did the time before that. 24, you guys. Josh Middleton, yeah, Josh, nice to have you. Josh, you've been on my mind to send an email now that OAX is over. I guarantee within the next couple days I'll get an email out to you, because I have been wanting to talk to you about a few things. So and he's working on a Red Sony right now. Very cool. Yeah, anyway, I'm moving right along. So busy schedule, but do turn into Ken's show tomorrow and Nick's at the same time if you're able to do 2 streams at once. It's going to be very interesting. Corey says he's excited about this mystery sketch thing. Okay, we like that. But yeah, we're going to be, as everybody knows, we rolled out a lot more artists who are going to be selling artwork using the checkout that we had built. We had a couple new artists working with us on the last show. I'd like to think that we'll probably double that amount for the May show, or maybe even better than that. We'll see. But we want to continue to kind of move in a direction where a real checkout is happening for at least the artists that are participating in Comic Art Live. And I think at one point we will crack the nut and make it work where people can purchase from collectors as well. Still got a few things to work out there, more logistics than anything else. But yeah, there will be advancements for the May show. But yeah, likewise, Josh. We talked a while ago, and yeah, it's long overdue. So there you go. So I guess I got that out of the way. What else do I have going on here? I've got I see Chris Snork. He had something going on tonight, but he's making his way back to his abode. He's about 20 minutes away from home, but we've got about 20 minutes of time that we can fill. Let's see. What did Jason want to know? When am I going to get the app? When am I getting the app? I don't have a specific date for you yet. I mean, it's getting there. I showed it to some people. I think I showed it to you, Jason. No, I did, didn't I? I feel like I did. Yeah, I did show it to Jason. So yeah, I showed the app off to several people at OAX, and where we were at. Pretty much what we decided to tackle with the app was start with the admin side of things first. And because that's really the hardest part of anything related to CAF, right, is being able to share, post artwork to your CAF gallery, or play around, arrange your favorites, all that kind of stuff. So when we brought on the app developer, that was where the area of focus was. So pretty much the admin is probably 85% done, and there's just a few more things to finish up there. And then we're going to work on the outside of the site. And I think, we've talked about this before. As far as we're concerned, the app isn't going to mirror everything we do on the site. It's going to be what we feel the app needs to be, as far as being, able to do all the things you want to be able to do on CAF, to make it real easy when you're talking with other collector friends, to be able to show off your CAF gallery without having to pull up your photo library or mini art on CAF. It's going to do all those things for you. So those are the things that we felt were most important to have in the app for version 1. The app said, or the CEO said, second quarter. Absolutely. No, it's really, really quite close. I mean, and that was the fun thing. The app developer that we're working with works in the same tech stack that we do. So Maureen's work, the work that we've done all these years, it's really just a matter of building the front end and using the database and the database programming that Maureen spent years working on already. They're able to just kind of plug right into that. So really, it's all mostly just front end stuff. It's just like we're just basically creating the app using all the work that's already been done. So yeah, very cool. I'm looking forward to being able to beta test that with some people, probably beginning, maybe a month or so out. When OAX happened, I asked the developer just to take a couple weeks off, because there were things I knew that we were going to want to talk about, and I have a meeting with him tomorrow to get him back on the few things I wanted him to finish up before moving on to the front of the site. So yeah, Tariq is excited for the rollout of the first CAF app too. The app will ping you when you're close. Yeah, now that would be a little invasive, wouldn't it? Mikhail said, that it would ping you when you're close to another collector on your watch list. That either alerts you to move away or gravitate towards them. But no, I don't think that's going to be a feature programmed into the app. But yeah, the thing is, we always felt like when Kazra and I talked through everything, the website's still going to be where the majority of all the functionality will always reside. We don't feel that the app needs to be a 100% mirror of everything that we do. It just needs to be able to do the things that I think people want to be able to do on the go. But we want people to experience the site as intended, which is on a desktop at the end of the day, or maybe your tablet. But bottom line is that's our approach right now. I mean, things can change, but I think by and large, we're happy with the approach. Once the app is done, we've already been speaking with some designers. I mean, one of the big things, of course, that I think we're going to be very focused on is just the branding. I mean, now that we've got an in-person show, we've got our virtual shows, we'll have an app, we'll have the website, and a few other things rolling out at the same time. We want to make sure that when we do the redesign of the front end of CAF, that it meets everybody's expectations as a mobile-friendly site. So it's not something we're going to rush into and do wrong, because that would be easy. I mean, if we hired a designer, we could easily slap out a mobile-friendly front end, something that we've not been able to do since I started doing the live streams. But there's things that we want to have kind of in place that kind of unifies all of the different things that we're working on. So that's something that we'll be working on, probably in unison with wrapping up the app and getting that out for everybody. Yes, I get it, Rich. Why post high-res images on your CAF to look at it on a tiny phone? Well, the thing is, the phones keep getting bigger and bigger, right? So they're not so tiny anymore. But yeah, swipe right for a like, says Jason. That would be interesting and funny. It would probably be more like swipe right to follow another collector. We'll come up with something. Hopefully, it's not Sadar friendly, Marcus. Anyway, yeah, apps are what all the kids want apps, right? So we'll make that happen. As far as I'm concerned, CAF, is the modern platform that's out there. We just don't have a modern front end. People can kind of say what they want and brand themselves however they want, but at the end of the day, CAF is leaps and bounds above anything else that's out there, and it will. But it's just kind of how it is. Tinder for CAF. No, Tariq. See, you guys are going all in the wrong direction with this app thing. Anyway, I know I had a couple other things here. So get you guys are all into the wrong side of things. Collector matchmaking would be nice too. Well, in its own way, we thought about that with OAX, right? With the whole, doing things with your badge to kind of let somebody know if you're an X-Men collector or that sort of thing. But I don't know. Hey, CAF is a social platform at the end of the day. If we start thinking of it in terms of that, there probably are ways for, similarly minded collectors who have of a certain focus to kind of help them find other collectors and, who have the same interests. And and it wouldn't be terrible, I guess, if at the same time people want, we're okay with knowing that they lived in a certain geo region that, people wanted to get together and do CAF meetups in Vegas like they already do in other places. And if CAF could help, connect those people, sure. I guess that could be a CAF matchmaking tool that could someday become a part of the site or the app or whatnot. But lots of possibilities. We are not short on potential at CAF these days. That's really the nice position that we're in right now. So let's see. Gosh, you guys Instagram. Hey, Mr. Krager. Nice to see you, man. It's been a while. I think last time I saw you was San Diego 2022. So I hope maybe you can participate in mystery sketches in May again. That would be awesome. You guys, all over the you're all over the matchmaking side of the things here. We now know that Tertulio is 34. Boy, oh boy. But all right. So what I've got for everybody next is a Page I Love video clip that Kevin Sharp did with with an interview, as he always does. So I think we skipped a few weeks in between, but we're finally kind of back on track with that. And again, he still has several in the can, so we'll be able to work on rolling these out regularly, I think, going forward. And they're always fun. He said that the cool thing is that early on when he was putting these together, he was going out and having to ask artists and writers to participate in talking about a page that they love, whether they owned it or it was in some way important to their career path or whatnot. But now he has creators coming to him, which I think is pretty awesome. And it's the thing is it's helping spread the good word of our community and the channel. And I think that's pretty cool that the creators are kind of taking notice of the things that Kevin's been doing for us. So this Page I Love is coming from Liana Kangas, and it's from from an artist I think a lot of us sincerely appreciate. But here, let me just go ahead and roll this 6-minute clip for everybody, and I'll be here when it's done.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to A Page I Love. This is Kevin Sharp. Today, I'm joined by artist Liana Kangas of Know Your Station. Liana, it's always great hanging out with you. Welcome to Comic Art Live, and thanks for joining us.
Hi, Kevin. Nice to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me on. This is awesome. I'm very excited to talk about this.
So, as a card-carrying member of the Cliff Chang fan club, that's describing both of us. Talk about how you chose this series and this issue and this page to talk about today.
So I actually picked Paper Girls issue 27, page 9. And the reason why I picked that is primarily like the city got really excited about me talking about this. Primarily my personal connection to both Mac as a character and a lot of the things that she goes through in life and also in this entire story. But also this page specifically, spoilers for anyone who has not read Paper Girls yet, is when she meets her future self for the first time. Her future self saves her from being killed by one of the tardigrade monsters that are heavily featured in Paper Girls. How much dialogue that both Brian and Cliff and fit into one page. Not only does she get saved by her older self, but she also talks about her brother and her dad and this specific thing that actually saved Mac's life, which is an old cassette tape player that she has in her jacket pocket throughout the entire series. And I just thought, like, for my personal connection, my brother and I think we bonded over music primarily. And so I kind of always thought like Mac was a funny character and like I related to her a lot anyway for a lot of reasons, but specifically like her annoyance and like her really weird relationship with her brother. Just the concept of her meeting her future self went by so like under the radar, you know? I just think it's such a powerful page that has been able to, I don't know, it just carried a lot of weight. And I also own it. So that's another another reason why
you buried the
why
lead
I
here.
picked that page. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's dive in. When you look at it as a visual storyteller yourself, aside from the story content that you mentioned, just looking at the aesthetics here, what works for you on this particular page?
Well, Cliff is one of my favorite artists to begin with, but primarily, so it's a 3, 4, 5 panel page, and how he utilizes both the movement of the action where she is like falling after shooting the tardigrade and like they're both getting back up and everything. You can tell that the way he drew out the page, each panel leads to the next with the dialogue and everything happening in each panel. I mean, he follows every rule they say to use in comics on pages. He also does this thing with the clouds that still leads to the next panel, which is like drawing clouds is one of my favorite things on my own personal work. And now I'm starting to wonder if I definitely picked that up from him, specifically from this scene. I love the balance of like his inks and like where he fills in his inks and the expressions that Mac makes both like mirror both her future and current self. I think it's a perfect page.
How did you come about getting the page?
I have been collecting Paper Girls since issue 1. I used to work at a comic shop, and I think it might have debuted when I was still working at one. And I remembered like loving the covers and like how iconic they were. And so I was reading it as it came out, all the issues. So I own both the issues, the hardcovers. I might own the trades as well, but I realized that I have not enough space, so I might have gotten rid of those. And actually, I can't take any credit for owning this. This is actually a gift by one of my closest friends. She knew that I love this character a lot, and this was probably one of the best gifts ever. It hangs right in my office, right next to my eyesight of where my computer's at. And I think she got it for me as like a reminder to my future self for doing what I do and like kind of keep track of my career journey, which is really cool. This is one of the first series that was a long-term series that was actually one of the few that I was able to catch up with and stay current with the entire time.
Tell the viewers a little bit about Know Your Station and where to find that.
Know Your Station is a kind of a little bit of a apocalyptic future horror in space. If you like Knives Out and you like the idea of really evil billionaires getting murdered, this is the book for you. And it's out by Boom Studios as of right now. I'm very proud of this book. It is very gory and very wild, and it is very much a space sci-fi horror book. So fans of like Alien and, just sci-fi in general, really, I'm super, super proud of this book. So shout out to my editor, Elizabeth. And you can also find me on my Patreon, which is also Liana Kangas. I like to send mail goodies to people, prints and stickers, and also give fun updates and work in progress shots of like commissions and pages and series that I'm doing.
Well, thank you again for joining us, representing the Cliff Chang fans out there. And
yes,
super nice talking to you. Thanks again, Liana.
Yeah, so great to catch up. Nice to see you. Thank you so much.
There you go. Thank you, Liana. So I've got a few other things to talk about. I put in the email that there were a few, we had a new artist that was posting art for sale on CAF. I think another person who recently, needed another venue to sell their art. And so Marco Rudy is now, I know he's accepting commissions through CAF. I put the link in the mailing that went out earlier today. So, he's, I like his work, and I think he's going to be posting stuff for sale in his CAF. He went premium. He's going to be using CAF as his vehicle for a while to sell art. I thought that was awesome that he kind of sought me out on Facebook to talk to me about it. And I was glad I could, at least steer him in the right direction, letting him know that the collecting community is on CAF, and if you're looking to market your art for sale, there probably is not a better place online to do that. In fact, I don't think there is another place near as good as CAF for doing that. Also, I mentioned that Brian Hitch is taking commissions. He's obviously Brian's used CAF forever to sell his art, and so I put the link in there for that. He was at MegaCon, so when he flew in from the UK, I actually picked him up at the airport, and because I had commissioned him since he was taking commissions, I thought it'd be fun to have him do a Thor. So I haven't posted this to my CAF yet. But this was one of his 9x12s that he did this one for me right there. So it's not quite the same as the Thor that James put on a t-shirt, but it's close. I think it's close. He's two-fisting this one. But at any rate, it turned out rather well. It was supposed to just be a shoulder one, but he was like, yeah, every time I started doing it, it just didn't look right. So he ended up doing that instead. But the link's in the email. For Brian taking on commissions, and like we work with a lot of other artists on the channel. He's actually, because I know he's had some issues with shipping things in the past. As far as not being as prompt probably as he needs to be. So he is going to be working with me to facilitate getting the art out to everybody. So it'll come into me and I'll get it out, unless it's going to a show, because I know he's doing a couple other shows with Ghost Machine. I can't remember. I think his next show is in Philly in May or maybe April. But beyond that, he also did give me some art, because we're going to be doing a few live stream sales shows in the near future. So it was kind of like he handed me off a large portfolio of stuff. So if you're a fan of Brian's, you can hit me up. I got a lot of DC stuff and a lot of Marvel stuff that I have to figure out how I'm going to meter out over the next 6 or 8 months in live streams that we'll be doing. And he's actually going to be putting stuff in the Comic Art Live in May too. So but yeah, it's got some vintage stuff that I know some X-Files out there would be interested in, because I am. So I haven't looked at it all yet, but there's some good stuff in there. But DC fans would probably rejoice the most, because there's at least 35 DC covers in here. Wonder Woman, Justice League, you name it. There's stuff I don't know what it's from, because I'll have to go back and do some research. Carl says Phillies in May. Steve Lipsky says, any chance you invite Alex Saviuk to OAX? We did invite Alex to 2025, and unfortunately he got cold feet and did not attend. But we do want Alex to come to the show. I love Alex. I mean, he's I've done shows with him on 4C, and he's done a panel with us before during Comic Art Live. So we want to get him over here. I mean, he's local. He could walk to the venue practically. Ram, do we have some Hawkman stuff? If you've been in the market for some Hawkman stuff, yes, I think there's like 5 Hawkman pieces in here, maybe 3 covers. There's a DPS in here. I don't know. There's some crazy stuff that he gave me. So, but the Hawkman stuff, because he did a Hawkman run for what, like a year, 12 or 14 issues or something. So yeah, I've got a lot of stuff that I had to go through. Like I say, our plan was just we're going to kind of roll it out over time. So, but if anybody is interested in me, sending them some scans early, I can certainly do that. We can work things out. Yes, Steve, please do. I mean, because at the end of the day, many of it, Bob McLeod was there. I think from the thing we saw that happened to Pat Broderick at MegaCon, which was incredibly unfortunate. I think Pat would love to come to OAX. He's a local too, and we want to with OAX we want to be able to support the local artists that are here. I mean, for us, it's easier to get those guys here than it is to fly somebody across the Atlantic or something like that. So yeah, I mean, we definitely would love to have Alex come the next year, and he knows how to reach me. Steve says Bob Layton did very well at OAX. Yes, he did. Well, he talked to everybody. He was a social butterfly throughout that entire thing. But all right, so you know what? our compatriot is not here yet, but he will be here soon. So I'm just going to kind of get on with things. We're going to do the heritage picks right now, so that I can get those out of the way. I'll go through these pretty quick. I think I only picked 9 pieces this week. I'm not quite sure why, but probably because I was in a rush. But let's see here. So heritage picks from their current weekly auction that just got started at midnight last evening. We got this Mark Teixeira Ghost Rider painting. I mean, you know, I know there's a lot of fans of Mark's work. You know, he's sometimes hard to get for different reasons, but here you go. You got, if you're a fan of Ghost Rider, here's a great painting. I don't know what the size is. I didn't check that, but this is a good one. I mean, I always like Mark's work, especially his painted stuff. So this is a good one. We've got a for you Gru the Wanderer fans. I've got this nice page from issue 15 by Sergio Aragones. And look at this thing. This is high art as far as I'm concerned. I love this piece. Yeah, I love the just the play in the middle panels there. And this brings everything you love about Sergio from his time working on Mad, and you know, just amplifies it with Gru here. I love this piece a lot. I mean, look at that last panel too. Yeah, that's see. This is a page I shouldn't be showing off. I should be bidding on this piece. Next up, Jock. I like Jock's work a lot, and this is just a Moon Knight pinup, so probably something that won't go for a ton of money, but I like the composition in the piece. I mean, his cape's a little long, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it's just, you know, he's riffing on this thing here really well. So I like it. It's simple, but again, it'd probably end up being fairly affordable given what Jock's stuff usually goes for. Then Dave McKean Batman piece. I mean, you know, we're so used to when McKean stuff goes on the market these days, we're always used to seeing those painted pieces that are kind of a collage or whatnot. I thought this was nice. It looks mixed media. It looks like it might be I can't tell if that's marker or if it's ink. Probably, I mean, I'll take a wild guess and say it's marker, although maybe not. I don't know. But then you've got some colored pencil and whatnot on the piece, and it's Batman. So I thought that was, you know, different. Figured I'd highlight that. Mark Hempel, a Sandman piece. I love Hempel's work. I thought this was fun. He always looks like, you know, it's all very, very woodcut feeling with his style, right? It's very Art Nouveau approach to his stuff, and yeah, I love it with an indie twist. As you know, I think we could probably attribute to this thing as well. So very nice piece from him. This one I picked for James. Look at this. Here's Superman, and you know, look at Jimmy Olsen's arm wrestling in the back there. I mean, look at that. This is the first DC page that made me think of James Siegel when I saw it. So I would highly encourage James to put a bid on there. Look at this. Look at James. It's only at $4 right now. This one's not going to go that high. It's Irv Novick and Dave Hunt, and it's a good one. I mean, again, how often are you going to see a couple guys arm wrestling like this, right? Not too often. Yes, I'm glad James is watching right now. Yeah, he needs to buy his first Superman artwork. Then you know, there was a Frazetta piece that I thought sold for way too little on a Deal or No Deal recently. Congrats to whomever picked that one up. But I saw this you know, a set of Frazetta nudes. You know, I'm sure this is a fairly small piece. You know, what, probably like 6x8, but who cares, right? You get penciled and a few. It looks like potentially inked, or maybe that's just heavy pencils on there. Probably heavy pencils. Either way, this would be really fun to own, and should go for less than $5, I think. But we'll see. We'll find out next week. But I do like that one. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, a Wagner Reese Voltron #1 cover. And I mean, I'm not a big Voltron fan, but I thought the piece was very, very slick, so worthy of sharing it. I mean, it's practically airbrush, Marcus. If you look closely, you might think it is, but I thought that piece was really nice. Oh, there was a scam. Okay, well, I had no idea, Jason. I thought it sold, whatever it sold for had to have been too little. So that makes more sense now. Somebody alerted me to it, saying, how did this piece get sold for so little? How are you guys getting, you know, that's a good topic of conversation. I would love to hear how you guys are policing your Deal or No Deal Facebook groups with the amount of scamming that goes on in those things. because I keep hearing about it, and it's just surprising. But anyway, we'll talk about that. We could make it a topic of discussion next week. James and Jason, and maybe you guys pick another person who's a regular in the Deal or No Deals. So let's see here. Oh, then there was a piece, a Mary Wilshire, Bill Sienkiewicz New Mutants piece in the last weekly auction. I didn't pick it. It's Sienkiewicz Inks, obviously. I think it sold for like $2,200 on Wednesday evening, and I figured, all right, I'm not going to let a second piece, pass me by. Obviously, Sienkiewicz Inks, on this to kind of keep the continuity after Bill, left doing the 100% of the art on the book. So kind of cool. And I'm sure with the team shots in here that this one will probably, I would think, will probably go for a little bit more than the last piece was that they had in there. It is a killer page for Rick Welch, isn't it? It's really nice. As we know from the interview I did with Sienkiewicz, and we all know just from his history. I mean, he's inked a lot of people in his time. I mean, I bet you if you stacked up the number of pieces where it was all Bill or Bill pencils versus all the pieces and different artists that he's inked, it's probably like split right down the middle. He's inked many pencilers out there. And last but not least, what do we got here? Okay, that's right. This I just thought was a fun cover. I remember this Marvel Age cover. It was done by Milgram. I think pencils and inks on this piece, and just a bunch of baddies on here, right? This is, I like the lighting. I love the the effect behind the characters. Everything about this piece is fun. I'm sure it didn't look half as nice in color, but as a finished black and white artwork, I thought this thing was awesome. And we know, Heritage is auctioning off a lot of the Al Milgram stuff. He gave them, I think, everything he had left, and we've been seeing lots of Milgram stuff out there over the last couple of years. And I typically avoid it just because I think I talked a lot more about it early on. So, but I saw this piece and I really liked it. So there you have it. I think that's my last Heritage pick for this evening. I'm just going to close these windows out. Look at that, December 4th, 1986. Wow. Okay, too many scammers in the Facebook groups these days. Yeah. If I get one more request to tell me that my Facebook page is going to get closed, I mean, I might as well just gouge my eyes out, because that's there's a fraud on Facebook that's rampant in so many different ways that it's not even fun these days. Let's see. Steve says, cool Sergio story. In the 1980s, he was at a con and got into the elevator at the top floor of some fancy. Did 9 sketches per time. He's that fast. I don't believe that, Steve. That's like 1 sketch every floor. That's 5 seconds. There's no way. But it's a good story, though. I do appreciate that. And hey, I see Mr. Snork has made it back from his night out on the town. So let's bring the man in. Hey, Chris.
Oh, how's it going?
Oh, you're wearing the right shirt, man. You got your OAX shirt on. All right.
I'm out representing the brand.
I appreciate that. And you feeling better now?
Yeah, feeling great. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's you weren't the only one that came back from OAX. I think most people ended up that went to MegaCon caught stuff. I heard Jason got something. I mean, Kazra got sick. I mean, but I guess we're all blaming anybody that got COVID or whatever is blaming Tyler T. He did look a little off. He did look a little off all weekend. I just figured he was just so excited to be around so many collectors at one time that he had that sweaty look to him. But anyway, I'm glad you're feeling better, man. Did the art arrive?
No, it's supposed to be here tomorrow.
Okay. I didn't know if we were going to get to do an unboxing tonight on the show.
No, I wish.
All right. Sorry. I tried tried to get it in the mail. Well, I did get it in the mail on Monday, I think.
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just taken its sweet time getting here, which is, always a harrying experience. You're like, will it, won't it, today, tomorrow? Yeah.
Oh, I know. That's why do you think I bought that piece off of, or took it from Larry, right, to buy it? Because the idea of shipping a $4,200 piece of artwork in the mail was
that big.
Right. I shipped the Hughes Gerhard yesterday because the guy was like out of town or something, and so he said put it in the mail on Wednesday, and I put that thing in Masonite, and then I found like a box that was like 18 by 24 and 6 inches tall. Then I put the Masonite in there with a lot of peanuts and extra padding.
Nice.
There's no way I can't
get hit by a truck.
Yeah, exactly. Let's hope not. But even then, I still had to ship that the Secret Wars homage by Beatty, and that thing was 2x3. Yep. So I had to find that cost $200 to ship UPS. Wow. Yeah, I was a little. I mean, I knew it was going to be expensive, but that was a little bit shocking. But either way, at the end of the day,
Allreds, you almost would have had to like build a crate. I think they're so big.
I did have. I saved the box, but I still didn't want to ship it. Because the box was like 5x4, and I know because I talked with Mike what was the cost, because he shipped that in two boxes of lunch boxes and some other swag, and it was a $700 bill. So I was not looking forward to trying to ship that to Larry. So it was much easier for me just to buy it. Oh man, but yeah, I know those two pieces of art that you got though were fantastic. The DeMeo blew my mind. That was
isn't it awesome? Yeah, in person it's so cool. And obviously the Bianchi's no slouch either. I think I've gotten more likes and followers on Instagram from that than I have from everything else put together.
Right. Deservedly so. And I presume that you would set that up with Simone. It just, Bianchi. I mean, so he just happened to be working on it and you walked up and were like,
that's actually a funny story. And I'll try and do the short version, but so my wife was at the show. A lot of you met Becky when you were there because she's the type of person that has to meet people. And so when we were in line to get our badges, she also felt that she had to meet Simone Bianchi. And I'm like she doesn't know who he is, right? So it's no big deal to her. She's like, hey, I'm Becky, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, and she said the same thing to him that she said to everybody else, which is, are you an artist? Are you a collector? Or are you a dealer? Mm-hmm. And he said, oh, I'm an artist. And he's, very nice and whatever. And so then she says, well, what do you work on? And he's like, oh, all kinds of things. And, I'm a painter and, yada, yada. And she said, well, do you ever work on The Thing? And he said, oh yeah, I love The Thing. And then she turns to me and she goes, Chris, show him your tattoo. So I'm pulling up my pant leg to show Simone Bianchi my leg. And so the next morning when I went to collect my piece from DeMeo, he was working on The Thing and he said, oh, you inspired me yesterday. He said, I woke up this morning and I thought, I should paint The Thing.
So
it was meant to be. And then Becky, of course, was right behind me and she goes, you're buying that, right? And I was like, yeah, I guess I am.
Well, it's good to have your spouse with you and have them approve your art purchases, right?
In my case, yeah, she's a pusher. She's a pusher.
Wow. Well, then maybe that's not a good thing. But she
cost me a couple grand.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Then we'll all high five Becky the next time we see her and say thank you. But that's awesome. Simone got inspired, and then you ended up getting a piece of art from all that. That's great. I mean, it was really, really nice, and I can see why you wouldn't want to try to, take it on the plane or anything. So,
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, also, I didn't bring a portfolio big enough to hold it. It wasn't even A3 or what is it? A4? It's bigger than 11 by 17.
Yeah, no, it was like 12 and a half by 21 or something like that. I remember I had to do a special cut on the Masonite when I went to Home Depot to get the piece for you. So
I appreciate that.
Made sure it was oversized. Yeah. See, like Scott Wingo said, he had to kept asking her, are you really married to Snork?
Yeah, hard to believe, I know, but
oh man. But yes, like Brian, like he said, it was meant to be. Definitely.
So everybody who was so nice to Becky and so nice to me, thank you.
Yeah. Well, and you picked up a few other pieces, but you were able to get a few things with you.
Yeah, one sec.
Yeah, let's see what you got.
I get this. This is not from OAX, but I got this in the mail this week. So
I'm going to go in full screen here.
This is so Sean Isaacs was the artist on FF when they finally let The Thing knock the Hulk out. And It was digital, so I commissioned him to recreate that.
Dang. Well, you did an incredible job on it.
And then I picked up. Let's see. Sorry for the impromptu art show, boys. I got this Kasara.
Oh yeah, look at that. That turned out great. I didn't see that at OAX. Sweet.
Yeah, very nice. That was a pre-show, which you know.
Yes, I
and
did.
And then I picked this up. That way. From Will.
Oh, Zach. Wow.
Yeah, a Mike Zek Deathstroke cover prelim. And his prelims are so tight that it feels like I bought a Zek cover. So that's nice.
Well, that's awesome. So we'll, I heard, I mean, I haven't talked to everybody, but I know that the Coolings actually had a good show. From what I heard Coolings, did very well. Like
that
San
was
Diego
like a
level.
museum over there.
Exactly.
I mean, you could just page after page after page, and yeah, their booth was insane.
Well, they did well. I know Berkey did well. Anthony did well. Eater did well.
Good.
Bashar came by and thanked me. So everybody was. A lot of the dealers were a little skeptical because they were feeling like it was going to be a very artist commission centric sort of show. And but no, I mean, I think it actually worked pretty well for everybody in the room. I haven't talked to all the auction houses. I know that Comic Connect had a great show. They bought art from some of the collectors that came in. Things that they bought were priced well so that they would, they'll probably put it in their marketplace or something like that. So
cool. I
think by and large, everybody, I don't know what Heritage did, but I got an email after OAX saying we want to be there next year, even with an even bigger presence, whatever that means. Probably.
Well, I walked in on the first morning, and Will was right there to the right, and the portfolio was open to that Zach prelim, and so within 5 minutes, I bought something. I texted Becky was still up getting ready, and I texted her. I was like, I already found something I can't live without. And she's like, all right, be down in a few minutes.
But Will thought he had it made. He's going to be like, if I can get a sale every 5 minutes in this show, I can retire by the time it's over.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, he's somebody I haven't followed up with yet, but I thought he'd be fun to have on the channel and kind of get his perspective. I'm going to ask Eater to come on too, because he's always fun to talk with and just kind of get. But it was funny. Eater was like, Bill, I didn't really think I was going to like the place. I told you I wanted an end cap, but when I saw the map, I was a little dubious about it. He goes, but where can I sign on right now to get the same spot next year?
Nice.
So, I mean, that's kind of cool. Because they do that at San Diego and New York all the time.
Right.
Before you're leaving, they're trying to get you to sign an agreement
to
put you right back in the same spot. So yeah, it was cool to have people kind of feel that way too. Let's see here. All right. Well, what do we got? I got the EXP preview for tomorrow night. And everybody knows Nick Barucci on at 7 p.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere. I have not watched this yet myself, so I'll get to see which artworks he's selling at the same time you are. So here we go.
Everybody, this Friday, February 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on the Original Art Experience.
You got the date wrong. It's the 9th.
This Friday, February 9th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on the Original Art Experience. After last week's show where we actually got it done in an hour and like 12 minutes, maybe this one will run a little bit longer. Maybe we'll even be able to keep it going. I know Amy would prefer to keep it going, that we could end by 8:12, 8:15 every week. But before I say anything else, hit that thumbs up. And let's go over this unbelievably amazing show. And do not pay attention to the phone that's ringing in the other room. Nick continues to forget to turn the volume off when he does a video. We have Hulk Magazine page by Mike Zek. Check it out. Talk about old school. What year is this from? 1979. 45 years old. Then we have some Moon Knight by Bongdazo. Check it out. Love these two pages. Oof, these are hot. I love them. Then we have, for the first, by the way, Boz Dango, I'm pretty sure that's the first time we've ever had any art from him. First time we've ever had a black and white Hulk magazine. We have a Paul Gulacy cover to JSA Classified number 10. Gotta love it. We have a Midnight Suns by Javier Salterres. You gotta love it. Then we've got a Punisher War Journal. Check it out. It is gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous art. Then we have Generation X61. This is by the other Kevin Sharp, and this is by Rodney Ramos. Then we have some Kazar by Mary Wilshire. Why am I even putting this on the air? This may be the only Mary Wilshire Kazar I have. Dennis Cowan, Captain America. Check it out. Nothing like a little Baron von Strucker and Red Skull action. Then we're going to be working with Ken Hazer. We're going to have his Darkwing Duck number 2 cover, Gargoyles number 9, Gargoyles number 10, Gargoyles number 11, number 12, I guess sold or is not available. I don't know. We're going to have a Victory cover. Check it out. And we're going to have the cover to Vampirella 666. Check it out, the limited edition cover. But if you saw Iron Man 3, oh, wait, I got to get to that. I'll get to that in a second. This is Ron Lim. This is the 3D scene where the armor goes to go around Tony Stark. That's Ron Lim and Cam Smith. And then Gang War, Marvel Gang War. Check out this beautiful art by John Romita Jr. and Scott Hanna. We got page 2, double page spread of 3 and 4. Then we have page 5. Maybe we'll sell this as a sequence. That'd be pretty cool, right? Then we have pages 16, 17, 18. Maybe we'll sell these 3 as a sequence too. 19. Maybe we'll sell the 4 as a sequence. You know what I'll do? We'll individually price them, and then if somebody wants to buy each sequence, we'll do a package price. We do package deals here as well. Then we have page 24, page 25, and page 28. And I love this, where Mask brings Hammerhead down the steps, and basically it's just great, considering in issue 31, when she got in the car, he made the car explode. So, got to read the whole series to understand it all. So, this Friday, February 9th, I almost said 19th. This Friday, February 9th, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, only on the Original Art Experience. And in case I wasn't clear earlier, hit that thumbs up and share. Sharing is caring. Look forward to see you guys on Friday, the 9th at 7 p.m. without a phone ringing, too. Take care, everybody.
Take care, Nick. All right, we're back, Chris.
I got to meet Nick, too. That was awesome.
That is true. Nick,
highlight of the show.
He might have done more talking than I did at that show, because he really lost his voice by Sunday. But no, that was a lot of fun. I've only hung around Nick one time before that at Baltimore in 2022. So yeah, but the thing is, and we heard this, I heard it a lot, and the idea that everybody is pretty much like they are on camera. You think that, well, maybe they'll be a little different, maybe they'll be they'll be a little louder or obnoxious or something, not the persona you get on camera, right? But I saw you frowning a little bit every now and again at the well, we won't talk about that, but you know what I mean. I think that's cool though, because you just don't really know, right? Are people actually as friendly as they seem, in the chat, on the streams and stuff, and everybody, it's always fun, and it's so cool. I would have to imagine that some people knew you, right? That they'd say, Chris Snork, you're on every Thursday night. Yes, did they ask you for their autograph though? Did you get any of those? I didn't get it.
I did not. Thank Christ. No, I did not. I wouldn't have known how to act. I would have been like, what do I do with my hands?
Oh man. All right. Let's see here. Let's get the CAF update out of the way so we can get into showing off some artwork here. Where did I put that screen? Gosh, I got too many things here. All right, CAF update. So it was a slow week the week before last, $165,000 for dealers, but a really good week for them after OAX. They had $462,000 in recorded sales. So three $300,000 swing for them, which is always a good thing. Even Albert did good. He was an Angoulême, so he must have been selling good there. But Berkey, number one, 145,000. He had a really good OAX. Albert had 93.5. Anthony had 84. Felix had 64. Quan had 20. Panel Page 17. Brit Comics Art 12.5, and Marquet had almost 12 too. So yeah, I mean, most of those sites were at OAX outside of well, Panel Page couldn't make it. He was going to be set up, and Quan wasn't there. And you know, because Quan, he's you know, he's too good for OAX in year one.
He's Mercure.
Yes, he is. And then Albert, of course, Angoulême. But anyway, so top 6 sales from dealers last week. Here we go. So like I said, total sales 462, 667. First up, this is a Kurt Swan cover, twice up, Superman 171. Anthony had this one. I think he actually bought this from, or traded it or something from Mike earlier in the year, and now or how he got it, but he sold it at 55. Then we've got this piece sold by Albert's Marvel Treasury Edition, issue 6, back cover, Frank Runner. That thing's hot, though. I love that.
Yeah.
We got an Earl Norham painting. This one was sold by, I know, this one's really good. It's sold by Berkey, Monsters Unleashed, number 8 cover from 74. Then we get a Barry Windsor Smith, Dan Adkins inked page from Conan, issue 7, page 1. Excuse me. This one sold for $22,500 by Albert. Those Europeans love their Conan. Then we got a bad scan here, but this is Coypel, and it's Black Cat issue 2. Was it the cover only selling for 20? I'm not really sure, but that's what was listed in the market data when we got it.
That's the going rate.
Okay. That's what I thought for a color piece. Then we have this Amazing Spider-Man 158 page from 76. Ross Andrew, Dave Hunt, and Esposito. That one was sold by Mike for $14,000. And really, that's the going rate for color. I mean, I know I've seen them for like the really awesome black and white ones, like 12 to 14.
They can be more too. I've seen them 25 or higher.
Aha, gee, talk about the goose and the golden eggs right there, man. He's great.
He's a generational artist. I mean, we have so many guys that are doing it today that, you know, he was so heavily influential on. I mean, it's hard to argue. He's Jim Lee for a lot of people.
So true. So true. I mean, he draws one of the best Thors of the last 15, 20 years. I'll give him that. Yep. I won't name the artist. I think he draws a better Thor than, but there's a lot of them. All right. So next up, auction results. Kind of low, I guess, for last week. Auctions did 315 versus 375 the week before that. Let's see here. Top 3 from eBay will be first. Now, so 315,000. eBay had 890 sales and 165,000 of that number. First up was Chris Pacello, Death Commission, $7,700. You would think the cover or something for going for that rate, but it's very nice. Next up is a Neil Adams Batman villain sketch card set. List price was $2,850, but it did sell for $2,000 with a best offer or make offer through eBay. And then last but not least, this is I don't think it was a blue line. It was a scan of pencils that Bob McLeod inked, and it was used on the cover to Jack Kirby Quarterly number 15. And this one did sell at auction for $2,600. Then the top 3 from eBay. First up was this Joe Kubert Ragman number 1 cover, went for $25,200. Then we had a really, I mean, these are cool. Archie Hostess Fruit Pie. Story by Dan DeCarlo and Jim DeCarlo went for $10,200. And that is pretty dang awesome. And then great Rick Leonardi, Bob Layton, Amazing Spider-Man page went for $6,300. You get black costume,
X Factor,
and X Factor. Exactly. I mean, I don't know, how did I not see that page? I would have picked that one for sure when I was doing highlights. But yeah, Leonardi.
That's a moment in time right there. Those costumes, you're like, oh, I remember that.
Exactly. So and Leonardi, you know, it's funny when you see that ink by Bob. I mean, Leonardi, and you can see where he takes a little bit from Simonson, right? I mean, it did
Mhm.
the way he was handling the figure work there. There's
sure.
definitely I'm sure a mutual love going on there. But so what do we got next? Now so that's it. That's where we were at. It was actually a pretty decent week thanks to the dealers doing as well as they did in sales. But I'm attributing that to OAX.
Obviously.
Exactly. All right, so now we get to the art picks for our week here, and let me see here. We got to get you started, and here we go. And speaking of OAX, we've got a Harvey Talibau. Is it Talibau? I always forget how do you pronounce it?
I say Talibau, but
Talibau. I think you're probably right.
I'm not sure. Anyway,
better.
So I saw this piece in person. Ron was carting this around, and man, this thing, wow, it just sings. The line work on this is like honestly unmatched. I love all that cross hatching that's going on in the background. It's like kind of a little area of interest unto itself. Behind Daigoro there, I think is so well done, so cool. And the composition on this, if you like pull back a little bit, there's so much happening on this piece, but it's still so well focused. And like the way he really kind of hyper accentuated the movement on the central figure, I think is awesome. The perspective of that spire going up in the background, like cuts through the middle and just like perfectly kind of like bisects the piece and like brings you back to the middle again. It's just so well done. And for a commission, I mean, this could easily be a cover.
Oh yeah, without question. You can see Harvey doing a set of trading card art sets too. I mean, he would really, because just imagine something like this getting shrunk down. I mean, he packed so much detail into his pieces already. But yeah, wow. I mean, I got a piece from one of my mystery sketches was a Cyclops that Harvey did. I've got to get that scanned up on my calf because it turned out fantastic.
I have so much scanning to do after OAX. It's insane. I found myself like wanting to post things so bad. I was like taking cell phone photos.
I know. I was like,
do for now.
I was so jealous of some of those guys. I mean, there was some people that got like 30 pieces of art over the weekend.
Wow.
You know, I was blown away. But that was awesome, though. You know, everything. Yeah. I was so convinced that the naysayers who were telling me, you know, it's too close to the holidays. People haven't got their tax money back yet. I was so set on the idea that, you know, most people might be picking up like 3 or 4 pieces and it was going to be like that, which I probably wouldn't have cried, but that was my mindset going in.
There was something like, I'll tell you, like as an attendee, my mindset was I'm going to pick up the stuff that I prearranged and then I'll see. And clearly, like I spent like several $1,000s that I was not planning to spend. And you just get swept up like that room, all the people around, like all the art. I mean, it was just like, I don't know, I'm not like blowing air up your skirt here, but like for an art collector, that was like paradise. It was nuts.
Yeah, very true. Andrew Hanna mentions that starting the pre-shows over the summer helped out a lot. Exactly. That was the whole idea. You know, we wanted to get people to be able to, you know, replenish their war chests, but also have those things lined up in advance. And yeah, it worked really well. That's why, you know, as soon as we can start making announcements for guests and for the 2025 show, we will, and trying to work out those pre-con things as early as we can too. So like Marvel Card Archive, I picked up 20 pieces during or prearranged. Yeah. And you know, like DT Tube was there. He had prearranged, I think, like 9 or 10 pieces. So, but all that is just awesome. I mean, everything that, you know, it really just worked better than we could have ever hoped. So
it was so fun. Yeah, it was so fun.
It was Disney World for OA collectors. All right, so now we have an artist that I'm not familiar with, Harry Beckoff. This is from 1930, which is this is pretty cool looking piece, man.
I wasn't familiar either. Yeah, I just like. It's so understated. I love the palette. I mean, it's very, you know, it's very of the time, right? Which I think makes it cool too. But the thing that I think is coolest about it is how the composition's kind of off kilter. And like you know, female figures on her own, all the newsstand stuff is extending towards her. And then the vendor is leaning toward her too. And then you've got this straight up and down, like the subway pole, the booth. Like, I just think it's like a clever little use of like how he arranged the stuff on the page, like makes it a really effective illustration.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's slick. It's stylized for the period, and yeah, really, really interesting. And you know, again, I'm going to take it. Oh wait, I didn't even notice there was a published page. So there you go. That's cool.
Yeah,
isn't that crazy? You know, of course, published in black and white, but the color piece is stunning.
Yeah. It didn't even need to be, you know, he could have done it tonally knowing that it was going to be reproduced in black and white. But the fact that it's a little like painting unto itself. And this is, you know, it's something like I wouldn't typically like maybe take notice of or whatever. But I really thought because like this isn't something we often see or talk about, it was worth talking about.
Definitely. I'm going to really quickly, I want to see, is this the only back off? No, look at that. I got nine pieces on the site. That's cool.
Cool.
Sweet. All right. Well, I'm going to leave that tab open. I'm going to go back and look after the show. Yeah, here's another OAX piece. I thought about making Tyler T pay for this one because I did it, you know, and I didn't though. I was game because I've always wanted a piece by Matt, and I mean, what better piece than this one? It's everything you'd want in a Cancor piece.
It is. And I think that there's a reason that he hung on to it the artist hung on to it for as long as he did. I mean, this is, like you say, this is emblematic. Allison, this is like a perfect example of a page, like from the series. Well, you can't really call it a series, but from this hardcover. I mean, this is tip top Matt Allison. And you know, there's really nobody better to have it than Tyler, but he's got like the whole works on display here, and it's actually got, technically it's a battle page, right? Which, you know, that's kind of special too. But I think the thing that I like the best about this is that bottom panel, how he makes this shrish sound effect. It's like part of the background, like he made it flat against that plane that's behind the head, and for whatever reason that just really struck me. I love that bit.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's so much to love about this piece. I thought it was awesome that Matt, you know, put it up for auction, you know, because like you said, he had held on to it for a while. I think some people got to see it at Heroes last year, and it, you know, was not for sale. So, you know, yeah, and like you said, there aren't a lot of like great action pages in Cancor. There's a lot
it's
of
not really what it's about, right?
No,
yeah.
There's a lot of introspective, quiet, you know, moments in there. So if you wanted to get your page with a lot of action on it, this was the one. So I mean, I'm glad Tyler got it. It definitely belongs in his collection.
100%.
Let's see here. Then, hey, Alberto, we've got an Alex Ross Captain America. Whew.
So I'll probably take some heat for this, but that's actually my favorite Cap costume. The, like, you know, Captain Rogers outfit, not the standard Cap costume. Alex Ross had a hand in designing that, is my understanding. So I think that like adds a little coolness factor to this. But I love this palette. Like, it's just blue, gray, and flesh tone essentially. And like he works in that little like 5 o'clock shadow on Steve's face. I think that's so cool. And he just, like, there's something about Ross's work where, I mean, one, obviously you automatically know it's his, but like he has so many signature elements that he puts in these covers, and like that, the cameo shot of Cap, you know, his head in the background, like really framing what's happening in the foreground. That's like prototypical Alex Ross, and I think makes this like extra cool. But I mean, for me, it's the costume, it's the palette. Like I love this whole thing.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Boy, you know, Alberto's been on a tear lately.
Yeah.
I'm just getting great stuff. But yeah, this is beautiful.
And again, this is where it belongs, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. He's yeah, he's got a thing for Cap, and we're all happy for him.
Yep.
Let's see here. Next up. Whose collection is this in? Israel Colado from Spain. 14-year CAF member. Okay. I don't feel like I've ever been in their CAF gallery. This is really a very nice piece.
It's gorgeous. And I didn't realize when I posted this, but he actually opened a commission list this week. So if you like this, I think Jorge Fornes is still taking commissions. I picked this because I think the thing that he does maybe better than anyone else right now is architecture. And he's on these Bat books. He's, doing these commissions of Batman. And he so heavily leans into the architecture elements that the figures almost become secondary to everything else that's going on the page. And I really love that. I mean, I think that this is like, it's a way of making it like an illustration or a piece of art first, and then kind of the comic book part of it is like almost secondary to it. Not that that's not a great looking Batman, it is, but like, look at those train tracks, look at those buildings. I mean, this is just a really cool piece of like architectural vision.
Yeah, no, it really is. And when I first saw it, I Steve Lipsky said the same thing as a kind of a Chris Samney feel to it. And it's not just because it's Batman. I mean, the rendering,
contrast, yeah. He dives in further than Samney does, though. Samney does like more suggestions of this kind of stuff, and Fornes, I feel like, really dives in and like draws every window and every shade and every texture and every, Samney, you're getting a much more like stylized or like noir version of this. Whereas the Fornes stuff to me feels more like a 70s like cop drama. It's just grittier, it's more real.
Well, it's very it's gorgeous. And you said he's taking commissions now, huh?
I believe. Well, he was this week. They may all be gone by now. When they look like this, they don't last long, right?
No, they don't. I mean, look at Maxi Dallow. People weren't really familiar with his stuff, and I know he got a lot of pre-cons, and from what I heard, he was pretty much busy from the beginning of the show to the end. When somebody does quality work, they're going to stay busy, and then they're going to be. And then they'll be unaffordable next year.
Right. Yeah. We want it. And then, they have to charge more.
Let's see here.
And then this.
I know. This thing
I put these back to back for a reason because goddamn, look at these buildings.
Yeah. I gotta just zoom out of this one because there's just too much detail. Let me open this a different way. There we go. That's a little bit better. Look at that. That is amazing.
Yep. I actually commissioned him a couple of years ago based on the strength of like one Batman image that I saw on Instagram. And I think he was working on like Suicide Squad or something at the time. And commissioned the Punisher. And what I got was like basically, I don't know, New York in the 70s. And then like the Punisher was in there. And that's kind of what we're looking at here too. I mean, obviously, Batman and Robin here being a huge factor, but how can you even care? Like, look at all of that vertigo. Yeah, exactly, Rick. Like the sense of like elevation that you get from this and almost the dizziness of it is amazing. And then when you take into the fact that like, so this is technically DKR, right? So this is in the future. He made these buildings up. I mean, some of them are probably patterned after real world, whatever, but like he made most of this up and it's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the more I look at it, the more I really love this piece.
It's almost if we had like a Samney and then the Fornes and then this. It's like a progression of insanity.
Yeah, no, it's unbelievable. But I think everybody has the same feeling about this thing. It's just amazing. I wonder what the size is on this thing.
They're huge.
I was going to say the paper doesn't look. It's different than 11 by 17, so I'm guessing it's oversized somehow.
And luckily, like he winds up doing prints of a lot of these, and so if you're really in love with the image, like you can at least get the image on your wall. You can't have this, but yeah, I think somebody said like something about the light. Oh, Easy Go Lucky. It's glowing. Like the city is lit.
Yeah. Yeah, well, just by the way he's handled the light in the building windows and everything, they're just like blurry smudges in cases. I mean, that's photorealistic basically at that point, out of focus. But yeah, wow. Yep.
This is just incredible. Alvaro Martinez Bueno, I cannot say enough about. Like he is just a master.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think I read in the description, the short description, so something about this becoming a poster too, as it should be.
I'm sure.
Whether it was colored or not, man, that's great. So
don't color it. God, don't color it.
I know. So this is in the collection of ES. I know I've been in their cap gallery a few times. Number 11 years. So let me get my like on that one. And next up, Collection of JD. We've got A Crisis on Infinite Earths. George Perez cover, or trade paperback cover, right? Something like that. Absolute edition. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like if you love DC, you love Crisis. Like, this is such an important thing for so many of us that like were reading comics in the 80s. The facial expressions on this like absolutely blow me away. You can't really talk about Perez all that much because you're not going to say anything that hasn't already been said. But you know, this has all the stuff that you want from like a big clutch Perez piece. It's packed with characters. You've got like that central figure who's like emoting like crazy. There's insane stuff happening in the background. It's one of those like, oh, I know that character, that character, that character, that character. Like, you know, when you used to see those big like the Crisis on Infinite Earths poster, and you'd try and go through and name every character. It's got some of that going on too. He was so incredible and for so long. And like, this is exactly, Nick, this is a perfect cover.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, yeah, it's got everything you'd want in a Perez cover and the right theme.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is great.
Especially if you're a Crisis fan. I mean, you know, it's got Psycho Pirate, it's got Harbinger, it's got, I mean.
Wow. Well, congrats to ES on this one. They scored a winner on that one.
Yeah.
Now, let's see. Do I like on this one too? Whose collection? Oh, this is the other another yes, right? Yeah.
Whoever that is posted a lot of awesome stuff. I had to do 2. I could have done 3 or 4 easily. But you know, Art Adams. We wind up talking about Art Adams so much and for so many good reasons. But I really like. I love the like gang surrounding the X-Men in this piece, and like how he. You know, he's Art Adams. He can't help himself. So he dives in on the bricks on the street. He dives in on each individual one of the characters. Like, they're drawn outside the margins, for Christ's sakes. He literally can't help but like draw and like just keep drawing and drawing and drawing. And that's, I think, what so many of us love about him.
Yeah, I mean, I love the you know, just the shading on the bricks, right? We get the bricks here in the light and then in the dark. I mean, it's just such a wonderful framing element for all these characters on the page.
And they all have character. Like, all of these individual, like, you know, thugs or whatever, they've all got their own look. They've all got their own weapon. They've all got their own, like, there's a ton of character packed into each individual one of those, like, no-namers.
A lot of tattoos on these guys too.
Yeah.
Varied. Now, this is a amazing piece.
It doesn't even need to be an X-Men cover. That's what's cool about it.
Yeah. No, well, congrats to ES again. They had an incredible run this week. So then we have a JG Jones though here in the collection of Matthew P.
This is kind of a nostalgia pick for me because I really enjoyed this series. I loved Final Crisis when it was coming out, and Libra, who's that character with the face mask and the hood, was such a cool character. All these villains like basically getting together and being like, hey, let's win. You know, let's all just get together and like do this right one time and let's win. I thought that was such a like a clever concept for the, you know, the book as a whole. But JG Jones like doing pen and ink is such a rare thing that I think it's like worth highlighting and worth talking about a little bit.
No, I agree. I used to own a few pages from Wanted, and he's amazing.
He is.
With his ink wash, just his technique is just beautiful. And honestly, the commission pieces he had at OAX were fantastic. I've got one of them in my picks in a little bit, but yeah, this is you know, I want to go back and get you know, buy a couple of Wanted pages now. I love it.
Yeah,
I loved it, and his art was just perfect for it.
And all his own character designs in that book too, which was extra cool.
Yeah, very much. So Marcus says that's like the OAX auction room.
If that's the case, I'd probably be Gorilla Grodd right there.
Oh boy, yeah, that was a night to remember. And then in the collection of Kevin Sharp, a Mannix piece makes its way into Chris's picks.
So this is from OAX, and I saw this thing in person, and I basically picked it because of what it looks like in person. It looks great here, don't get me wrong, but in person, like, you cannot do these things justice. from a scan on a website. Like, I mean, they just glow. Like they have like they're like their own light source in person. They're so vibrant, and they are so like pop. Like a pop is overused as a term, but these things pop. They just do. And like it's on canvas. Like he's got a great scan. You can see that it's on canvas. I think it's cute, it's clever, but more than anything, it's well designed and it's like perfectly executed.
Yeah, it was fun seeing so many Mannix pieces over the weekend. You know, I didn't.
He had to have been crazy busy.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, he always seemed to be painting, but you know, they had brought some pre-done pieces. You got to see a lot of the pre-con stuff, but yeah, that was a joy to see that. And you know, you know, what was even cooler, and I didn't get to see the initial interactions, but Kazra told me about it. Was that you know he's a huge fan of Mike Allred, and Allred, you know, wasn't. I don't believe Allred was very familiar with his work, but became very familiar with his work. And
that's awesome.
I saw Mike hanging out in front of Mannix's table, you know, a couple times on Sunday, just you know, gushing over Mannix's stuff, and that was fun to see. You know, because that was what we hoped would happen, you know, artists meeting other artists that they've not had the chance to meet before, or, you know, or maybe they haven't seen in a long time, those sorts of things. And so, you know, OAX delivered on those experiences too for the creators, which was really important. But
yeah,
but I can see that. And, you know, Mannix was like, you know, he said Allred is like one of his favorite artists. You know,
oh, he's a god.
Yep. Exactly. So just the idea that they get to meet and hang out, because Allred's a rarity as it is. He barely goes out to shows. So yeah. Anyways,
and what a cool guy. I mean, like, you know, if I had a regret from OAX, it's that I'm still like so starstruck by a handful of people that like I couldn't like bring myself to interact with them. Mike being one of them. Like I'm like, I can't, like, what would I even say to the guy? I can't even fathom it. Like his stuff has been so important to me. Madman was such a huge thing when I was collecting comics. And when I worked in a comic store, I had those, there was a Japanese company that was making like massive posters printed on like linen paper back then. And I can't remember the name of the company, but he did several. And they were unique to those posters. And I had all of those in my house back then. And him, and I could not bring myself to talk to Kevin Nolan or Jose Luis Garcia Lopez. I just couldn't do it.
Oh man. Well, then you missed out. I actually,
I know.
I only talked to Mike the last day, but I wish I would have loved to have just sat with him all weekend. I think I would have had, because he's just that kind of guy. You know, he loves the arts, he loves comics, and you know, he just always seems to have, you know, something going on, you know, and it was cool seeing so much of his art too. I didn't flip through his portfolio, but I was standing in front of his table while somebody else was, and you know, he had a lot of X-related work there, which was awesome to see. Simon had brought some stuff that I hadn't seen before, but yeah, anyway, I know what you mean. I had a nice talk with Kevin and Jose at the end of the day on Sunday, because I had to write checks for him. So it was cool to get to hang out and get to talk with them. But it was, you know, but they were both really happy. You know, Bill Byers found out that they sent that Superman piece that he won in the auction. You know, it's going to become a published cover.
Awesome.
He doesn't get to do that kind of level of work anymore. He
That's
did it.
so cool.
He did it specifically for OAX, and yeah, they got, you know, wind of the fact that it's going to be a cover. So that's just awesome. You know, like I say, so many different things. You know, the idea of like trying to get the artists together to do things that they might not normally have the chance to do, or the opportunity to do, like with Hughes and Gerhard. I mean, everything could have worked better. Now it's like, we got to top it now.
Well, yeah. How do you catch lightning in a bottle twice is basically it, right?
Yeah, but it's going to be fun trying.
Yep.
That's for sure. Let's see here. All right, my picks now. I've got let's see. So Aaron Cooter piece. This was in Benedict Judas Hell's Calf Gallery. I just like that name. I almost had to pick this piece just because of the name. But what is this? A Civil War Kingpin #1 cover. There's something about just the way the whole thing is framed The number of characters in the piece. I even like the kind of squiggly style, but I mean, he's known for that, but there's just something about the way this whole cover was drawn that was just really, really appealing. And look, there's MODOK in here too. I didn't even notice that originally.
Ooh.
Hey,
Yeah,
look at that,
this is
Kazra.
really cool. It's got a noodly look to it a little bit. Like he, like went to town on a few things, and like I'm a sucker for Hobgoblin. I think it's him and Craven that to me are probably the coolest Spider-Man villains. So having him front and center is extra cool for me.
Right. Oh heck yeah. No, this is a great piece. And I love the stark blacks in this thing. I mean, it's cool. Yeah, it's more like I mean, I just love this thing as a work of art. So congrats.
It's really, really organic looking. Now there aren't like hard edges everywhere. It's like stylistically, it's a very cool piece.
Definitely. So Benedict Judas Hell, congrats on that pickup. Let me see here. Marcus, he's keeping everybody in stitches in the chat. Thank you, Marcus. And let's see, my next piece. We got to see this one at OAX. I have a few OAX picks in here. Wayshack. I mean, this thing was just awesome. Like on there, Wolverine versus Cyber. This was on Wayshack's table most of the weekend. I mean, it's just a great piece. And I've seen Jonathan's work on CAF for a long time. But I thought this was so fun to see so many collectors really turned on by his stuff, because he's a very very indie kind of style, different. I mean, little subtle mixes of from Sam Keith to you name it are in his toolbox. But
Corbin.
A little Corbin, yeah, too. Yeah. I agree, and but I thought it was just so dang cool to see a guy that I wasn't sure how well received he'd be at an OAX. Just people loved him. People picked up his pre-cons like crazy. I mean, he sold like 8. He had just a great show, and now he's in, and then he did the trading card artwork too. So it was really rewarding for me to see a guy who I wasn't sure was going to knock everybody's socks off, and he did. And I love that. I think that's fantastic.
I think that this doubly shines because of the character selection.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you look at somebody's stuff, like I'm often guilty of being like, would this guy do a good, X like Punisher thing or, whatever. But when you see somebody like Wayshack and you just think like, you know what, Wolverine and Cyber, and then this comes out and you were right. Like that's a great feeling as a commissioner.
Definitely. Yeah. Dave W got a nice Hulk cover like he always gets by John. Anyway, he had a great show. He's one, again, one of those things that just makes me really, really happy and proud to have, just work that way through it. And I give it to Kazra. Kazra is good friends with Wayshack for a very long time. And,
very cool.
Brought him into the show. Then I picked this piece for the show cover. Initially, I thought Adam was actually due to be on the show this today, so I figured it was appropriate, and then that got canceled. So I left it as the image. But Adam, he took commissions prior to the show, and I don't know the exact count. I think there were 7, maybe 8.
Wow.
But he just killed them all, man. They were all fantastic. And I'm an X character collector as it is, so just seeing this piece, it just blew me away. I mean, I was so happy. I can only imagine what the commissioners felt seeing this kind of quality.
This is also, I mean, I'm not saying to diminish, but like Adam by any stretch, but this is like stretching for him a little bit in some ways. Like the cosmic stuff you don't often see from him. That's a unique pose. Like some of the power effects, like, a lot of times when you see him, the composition is more like understated, demure, like whatever. He's got like maybe some Art Nouveau elements in it from back in the day. This is really like dialed up to 11 in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it really is. And he did it with every piece. I mean, he knew he had to come through on him, and he did. It was funny. One of the pieces was supposed to have the OAX badge in it. There was I didn't see that piece though. I feel like I saw them all, but I didn't see that one. There was he was doing some kind of homage, I think, to a Lois Lane cover, but she had like a press badge on, and the commissioner wanted the badge to be an OAX badge.
I didn't
I mean,
see
how
it
cool
either.
is that? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that they want to work the show into the commission. I didn't see
Very
that
cool.
one. I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'm gonna remind myself to. He's got to have a scan of it.
Yeah,
'Cause
I actually owe some artists some scans now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, you know, when before the show started, Allison came to me and she's like, "Bill, we brought all these commissions. We forgot to scan them."
Ooh.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to introduce you to, you know, Tom Kraft over at the Kirby Museum.
Ah, nice.
So Tom took care of her. But that was, you know, again, it's back to the fun stuff. It's like, there, you know, Tom was here for a reason. You know, he got to be able to take care of them, and yeah, that worked out great.
Cool. Well, this is amazing. This is gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah, I'm jealous of this one. Then Lovett's posted a lot of great stuff in the, you know, over the week too. But for me, you know, this is just a classic ROM title page with Jack of Hearts on it. You know, the moment I saw it, so you could say it's nostalgic, but it is a really very, very memorable title page. If you've, you know, if you read ROM, I mean, as odd as it is, like this Jack of Hearts image is just kind of burned in your brain. And so when I saw it, I was just like, oh, I mean, it takes me back to, you know, the local drug mart where I was reading the comics before I buy them. You know, so yeah, this thing's awesome. I love this. And Lovett's had a lot of really great pieces posted to his calf gallery this week. So if you haven't gotten over there at all in the last few days, you got to check out Michael's calf, because it's loaded with a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, well, always has been. It's only ever getting better.
Mm-hmm.
I think I could be wrong about this, and somebody in the chat will bust me, but I think Keith Giffen actually designed that costume for Jack of Hearts, and I believe he takes a lot of heat from it.
Oh, there you go. Just as you were saying that, yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, he I've heard him go on record as saying like artists bust his chops quite a bit for designing that costume, because then they had to draw it.
I'm sure. Hey, well, somebody had to write him in too. You can blame the writer for deciding to want to have the hearts in it.
Mantlo.
Exactly. All right, next up. This one, I mean, you know, it's a decent drawing by Sean Gordon Murphy. But the one thing is, again, we're talking about OAX again, and I want to get Sean on to ask him about this. I didn't realize Sean was doing like auctions on the floor, because I saw this piece and I knew it. I could tell it was Sean's just by looking at it. And this is in Scott Wingo's calf gallery. But apparently, you know, he had on the floor that he was having people just place bids on pieces that he either was working on or had already done. Okay. And I just thought, you know, I mean, I guess
that's a novel approach.
Yeah, it's something different. And I was just kind of curious how, you know, Scott says I stumbled onto it. Well, right. I mean,
I
didn't even know what was going on. That's because I mean, damn it. If I would have known it was going, I would have gone over there at least to look at what was available.
He was doing insane remarks too.
Mm-hmm.
Like they weren't really remarks; they were more like con sketches.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna try to get Sean on to talk to him, because we only had to talk a little bit, and I didn't even get to see any of the commissions. I'm so disappointed. I know that we had a photographer in the room when he did his meet and greet on Saturday. So, but I haven't looked at the photographs yet. So maybe they got some pictures of the commissions there. But I was really jealous that I didn't get to see any of the commissions in person.
That's my probably second biggest regret, is how much stuff I missed, just because like I either didn't know what was going on, or I was so caught up in talking to everybody. You know, like I could have spent easily a solid day just going table to table. Like I thought, 2 days, man, Sunday, are we going to be bored on Sunday? And it was like, I was just blinded, you know, the entire time, like being blindsided by this, blindsided by that. Like, yeah, it was intense in a way.
Yeah. Dave Kopecki's, you know, what it was he had to fly back to Maine, and there were no evening flights back to Maine. And he actually had to fly someplace, I believe, on Monday. So the only flight for him was like a 12:30 in the afternoon flights on Sunday. So he basically missed all Sunday. And he was like, "Is that going to be okay?" And I'm like, "Dude, if it wasn't for you, there might not, you know, the scale of OAX might be very different." I'm like, I really wish you could stay, but I understand why you got to go. you know, so
Well,
that
and so many people got art too, so like no harm, no foul.
exactly, you know, but you know, I felt, you know, he was one of those guys that I wanted to make sure really had a good time, because he kind of set the tone real early with the pre-con stuff and the commitment to the show. And again, he's one of the guys I didn't get to talk to that much. So yeah, Joshua Middleton says it sounds like it needs to be a 3-day show.
It felt like it could have been.
Yeah, it's kind of getting that vibe. I mean, I don't think it's going to be that way year 2, but you know, you could see potentially doing like I don't want to call it a preview night on Friday, but you know, like a VIP preview night or something like that. You know, but too much to think about. And that was not something that Kazra and I talked about last Saturday when we had our kind of breakdown meeting. But Berkey mentioned it to me. He's like, Bill, I think this thing could be a 3-day. It was in the green room yesterday. And that's when I came to me that, yeah, we could maybe do that on a Friday, but I would only do like a VIP thing. I wouldn't want to have like a 3-day ticket. But if you were a VIP ticket holder, you know, you get into the reception and you get early access to something.
I could see that. Yeah. I mean, it was too much to do in 2 days for me.
It turned out to be, yeah, surprisingly. But yeah, we're definitely not gearing for a 3-day show in year 2. But you know, you never know for the future. But let's see here. What do we got next? So that was in Scott's Calf Gallery. Congrats, Scott, on that one. Then A. Williams. This was just a fun read on this one. Josh Cassara. Let's see. This is from X-Men 25. I just like the story. It was like you know, she mentioned that she wanted to get a Shadowcat piece from Josh, and so she was at his table, I think, lining up the commission, but going through a covers portfolio on the table just for the hell of it, and then came across this and was like, I gotta have it. You know, so awesome. I don't know if she ended up getting the commission or not after she got the cover. But it's stories like that, you know, that are just fun and interesting to see. And we've all been there, you know.
Yep.
So so I like this piece, and I like the story even more. So yeah, this is cool. Very nice.
It's such a cool. The concept for the cover is perfect. It's so characterful, and who doesn't like seeing an AIM agent get 2 swords in the head?
So true. But yeah, no, this is awesome. And again, one of those moments that, you know, OAX was all about moments. And there's another OAX moment too. This is Rob R. We know Rob R.
Yeah. Thanks for the bourbon, Rob.
Yeah. So this is Todd Smith and Ian Aiken Darkhawk cover. And I just remember, you know, I forget who he picked this up from. But I mean, you know, this is like, you know, something very, very important to Rob, and he showed this one to me when we were getting the chat, I think, on Saturday afternoon. Just cool, you know. I mean, it was OAX. Awesome. You know, everybody, like I said, it's early on. You started thinking OAX might be all about modern art, and you're not going to see people picking up vintage pieces. But you know, you got that Zek prelim. You know, Rob gets this. I mean, so it was a good show all around for
vintage art was had, to be sure.
Definitely. So yeah, congrats to Rob for this one. And he says childhood. I didn't look at this photo. What do you get in here? Oh, it's huge. Oh, just throwing it right in the middle of.
That's great. There it is.
That's awesome.
Those poor colors. Look at how much cooler that thing is in black and white.
Oh yeah. There's like no comparison at all. I mean, that's oh well. What are you gonna do? But yeah, that's awesome, Rob. Congrats on that one. Let's see. This is in Bashar's Calf Gallery. Bashar is not premium yet, though. I'll have to work on it about that, because I'd love to see a bigger scan of this piece. Buscema Klein, retelling of Vision's origin. I mean, this thing is. I just love it. I mean, that you know, that third panel with Ultron is badass. I mean, it's just you know, it's drawn in a weird way. I mean, you know, the anatomy's quite wrong on it, but it just fills that panel, and he just looks, you know, it's awesome,
sinister, monstrous almost.
Exactly. And so I just love this page, man.
Man, if you're a fan of androids emoting, this is your page.
I mean, look at that second panel. I mean, god dang, this thing is awesome.
Yeah.
And just looking at, you know, the yellowed page, the Roy Thomas signature on it, I mean, it's just that is just a cool artifact from our hobby that this can't be duplicated. It's so darn beautiful.
Of
So
those vintage Avengers collectors, I really like. I feel so bad for those guys because it's not my market, thank God. But every one of those pages for so long in Avengers is so prized and so sought after because they're almost all great. You know?
Yeah, boy. I'd love to see this one in person. I think I'd get a picture of myself with it's that awesome. I'm looking, I mean, it's a page I could never own, but boy, that's the kind of thing that belongs in a museum. Everybody right there. Let's see what do I got next. Oh, okay. So this was Rich Cirillo. As everybody knows, Rich Cirillo had some reasons that kept him from being able to attend OAX, unfortunately. But fortunately for Rich, he's got a lot of good friends, and Rich had lined up 5 or 6 or more pre-cons, and one was with JG Jones. And JG just, I mean, this thing's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Again, so you see this and you think, man, I wish I had signed up for that. Like I saw Jason saying that about Wayshack. I mean, there's just so many artists that reminded us why they're so darn good, and why we should have a representative piece in our CAF galleries from them. And JG's one of those guys, man. This is fantastic. I mean, Rich had to have been giddy when he saw that this was his piece,
and can do anything really. I mean, a lot of these, a lot of modern artists would be like, oh, you want the vintage costume, like the really old costume. But like you see something like this and it's treated with a certain amount of realism, but he still manages to like not make it look corny. Like it's just like so perfectly executed.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, congrats, Rich. I mean, you couldn't be there. You were there in spirit, man. Your friends mentioned your name many times to me. And there's always going to be year 2. So really happy to have you back, and you have a credit on it, so you got to come back. You got 2 VIP badges for year 2, one of the first. So let's see. I got 2 more pieces here. I picked an odd one too. This thing from an artist named Orson Lowell. The inking on this thing is unbelievable. And what was this? It was called A Philosopher. So from 1915. This thing is just amazingly beautiful. Just
look at that.
When you look at the textures on these coats and this blanket, I mean,
and it's all just directional lines.
Who thinks like that? I mean, I don't get it, and this literally looks like an etching that should be on a coin, I mean, the way it's handled. So much of this. When I just had to feature this thing because this is an artistic style that we don't get to see anymore. No, it's gone. But fortunately, these pieces still exist. I mean, this thing's over 100 years old, almost 110 years old.
And like every once in a while, like Frank Cho or like Mark Schultz will break out and do something like this. And it's always just like, your jaw drops open.
Yeah. I mean, look at how delicate all this is back here to make it all work. Gosh. I mean, even just the shingles on the roof or the tiles, if that's what they are, either, it's unbelievable. I love this piece. And I don't even know whose CAF gallery is this. Ben Friedman.
And when you think about the tools that were available, how painstaking that process was to make that illustration.
Yeah, no, it's lovely. It's just unbelievably gorgeous. And I'm not familiar with it's funny, I'm not familiar with Ben Friedman's CAF gallery. He's only been on the site for 18 years.
Wow.
So maybe I've seen
and premium.
Right, and he's premium. I mean, I hate to say that. It's like I've probably seen a lot of stuff in there, but it's like some names just don't jump out to me and be like, I know that guy. I know his collection. So I'm going to check it out after the show. One more piece. I actually had 11 picks. I came across this one and I was like, oh, it's cool. It's Howard Chaykin, American flag. It's it's cowboys. I just thought and it's on like duo shade board too.
Yeah.
Take a look at that. And it's the funky, it's that weird texture one too. So this thing is like it's loaded with risk going into it, to try to make something that works and can be published and Howard can be happy with. And he just blows this one away. I mean, this thing is fantastic.
He was just like, in this period, Chaykin was like untouchable. He was so at the top of his game on this book, and like, the Shadow obviously and Black Hawk, but like stuff like this is just so unbelievable and so influential. And like, you see his influences in it, but more importantly, you see all the guys that came after this that were influenced by it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. I had to pick 11 when I saw this piece, because it was kind of like when I actually saw this one today. I'm like, oh, it's got to get added in here.
I've talked to Chuck Arnold about this. I don't know how many times, but like this, there's a Chaykin window, and where he was really like, for my money, maybe the best guy doing it. This is in the window.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's see who got this one. Oh, Steve Lawrence. Steve's obviously got a fantastic collection, so he knows a thing or two about good artwork.
Indeed.
So there you go. We got our picks in, man.
Right on the wire.
Right at the 3-hour mark. So I don't know how that works out. I mean, I literally don't know how that works out, because it is not planned, everybody. It just happens.
We love art.
We do. We definitely do. So, Chris, good to have you back. It was funny. I was going through my emails. I thought you weren't available tonight. Like 3 or 4 weeks ago, you weren't. But if you were able to squeeze it in because you're.
I wasn't, because I'm stupid. I made it anyway.
Well, I am so glad that you did. I haven't talked to anybody about fill-in, so we'll just say we're going to do it the next several weeks, and we'll figure out. We'll bring somebody in. Maybe later in the month, or maybe beginning of March. I'll try to line up for the first.
Next week I'll awkwardly hold my Bianchi and DeMeo up.
That's right. Yeah, you got to show those off. You're going to get a lot of comments, likes, and views on those once you get them up there.
That's great. I'm down.
All right, man. Well, thank you as always. You have a wonderful night.
You too. Thanks, everybody.
All right, so there you have it. Another one in the books. Episode 182. As we roll quickly to our 4th anniversary, right? That's it's not too far off. Three more months, and we'll have four solid years doing shows on the Comic Art Live channel. So I don't know. Will that actually get me? It'll get me close to episode 200 of the CAF update. CAF update started about 6 weeks after we started live streaming, when I realized there was a need for a second show that wasn't just an interview show with Will, Glenn, and Mike. And the CAF update, if everybody remembers, the CAF update started as a short just recording. They weren't even live stream. I did like a 15-minute recording and showed off some stuff. So yeah, it's evolved a lot, but hitting episode 200 will be fun. But listen, thank you for entertaining us talking about OAX one more time. I mean, we're gonna have a few more shows where we talk about it because it was such a good experience, and I do want to hear from guys like Mike Allred, and I'm looking forward to talking with Adam and Allison and Jimmy and Amanda on Monday. I hope everybody is as well. So have a wonderful weekend. And, we're going to be back onto a 5-show-a-week schedule starting next week. So enjoy the time off, over the next few days, because we've got a lot of things coming up. But have a wonderful weekend. If you're into the Super Bowl, cook some pigs in a blanket and have a Bud Light, I guess, right? Just like everybody else is watching that thing. And I'll see everybody next Monday. All right. Take care. I'll see you again.